the 85-86 season in an interesting spot. It's crazy how fast the league just like copycat shit. So the LA Times is going to write, Twin Tower front lines, a National Basketball Association phenomenon at Houston last season, are now under construction in New York, Boston, and Washington. The pairing of 7'4" Ralph Sampson and 7-foot rookie Hakeem Olajuwon worked so well for the Rockets that they won 19 more games last season than the previous year. More teams will present their own towering lineups when the 85-86 season opens. The Celtics got Bill Walton, Kevin McHale, obviously Robert Parrish. The Knicks just drafted Patrick Ewing. They still have Bill Cartwright. He's not a Bull yet. So those are 2 7-footers. Washington just drafted Manu Bol, 7'7". It's crazy because, like I said, 13 of the 17 first-round draft picks this year were 6'9" or taller, including 5 7-footers. So it's just, people saw what was happening in Houston, and they were like, "Whoa, we need to get on that. Fuck, size is in right now. Centers are king currently." And it's crazy because this is how we're going to enter this era of big men that is super elite. Yeah. And I feel like we're seeing the foundation of that.
Hakeem is the one that's kind of the reason
catalyst.
For that. Yeah.
Definitely the catalyst. The combo of Hakeem and Ralph has caused the league to shift dramatically.
Yeah.
So people are high on the Rockets, and people are high on Hakeem.
And that makes sense, too, because at the end of All-Star game the year before, obviously you had Pat Riley giving props to them and stuff like that. So you could see that they're like definitely getting attention towards the end of the year, and they started like kind of clicking.
The Rockets, right?
Yep. Yeah. So I'm sure going into the next year, a lot of people saw the potential.
And they were living up to it to start the year. Hakeem's going to come out. The Rockets are going to start 14-6 in their first 20, which is good for second in the West. And Hakeem's going to lead the team in scoring. Let's get his averages up here while I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
24 points a game, 11.6 rebounds, 1.2 steals, 3 blocks a game. Only 35 minutes a game, which is kind of low for this era. But he's played a couple 40 minutes, but it's interesting to see. And it's got to be because he's still averaging 4 personal fouls a game. So he still has his troubles staying out of foul trouble.
Yep. But he's getting to like 3 blocks a game. I think by the end of the year, he's at like 3.2 or something, right?
He's at 3 right now. Right now, he's at 2.9.
Yeah.
After the 20. And he is doing really well. But what were you going to say?
And the big reason for like their success is like his game is starting to like kind of slowly getting better, right? You're starting to see a little bit of the dream shake like, it seems like it's a very, a very basic version of it right now.
Right.
Compared to what he does obviously in the 90s, but but you started to see everything start flowing a little bit more, so which is cool.
It's abundantly clear he's working in the off season.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
Insane. So,
and he's still working with Malone in the off season, which is
so that's what I was
which is interesting because we get a lot of NBA legends talking about players working in the off season and giving them shit for it, but like so far we've seen like in a lot of these legacy breakdowns, this is happening. This has been like a consistent thing forever.
It's absolutely the blueprint to getting better.
Yeah.
Is hard work.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no getting around that shit.
But working with each other too, like that's the part. Like, I feel like a lot of people they try to poo-poo a lot of these like younger, or really it was a lot of people were shitting on like LeBron and Durant and Melo and all of them.
Even going further back though, like the '90s guys were getting crap too for.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because I remember Will and them saying, "Yeah, I remember that."
They get all that money to start. We talked about that when Shaq and the Magic.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Because there was no.
It's just old heads hating.
Structure.
Right? Yeah, like it's literally just old heads hating. Like old heads is just gonna be grumpy. No offense to our old heads that listen, but
there's shit you're gonna see that people think is exclusive to our generation, and the more we look back in time. I just go, nah, this shit was always happening. People were always bitching, to your point.
Yeah.
So he plays. Faces the Nets here. They're on this really good winning streak. They're 8-2 at this point, and 6-0 at home. Yep. More on that home record in a little bit, but they're going to face the Nets, and head coach Dave Wall of the Nets said, you can't allow him to get the ball in there. You have to put your body to him as quickly as possible. Once he catches there, he's so strong and quick that he's virtually impossible to stop. He keeps coming at you all the time. They have great size on their front line, which means you also have to contend with Ralph Sampson and Rodney McRae. So we know this from modern basketball, right? When you have all these different weapons on the floor, it's impossible for you to truly get double teamed. So they can't get the double team there fast enough, because some of the highlights you'll see is just when Olajuwon gets the ball, he's making that move immediately. Fucking immediately. Like, that's the first thing I noticed is how fast he was. As soon as he gets the ball, it reminded me a lot of Jordan, honestly. And what we were seeing from Jordan towards the end of his career with his post game, catch it, little shimmies, turn around fade, or quick drop step. Hakeem has one of the fastest drop steps I've ever seen. Yeah, like that to me, that was fast. The biggest improvement from one year to the next was that. Yeah, like that drop step just coming right away. Like, you don't even give the guy the ball's barely in his hands by the time he's making the move. Facts. Yeah. But the last quote here is, he's Moses Malone Jr. I can see he has been working with Moses during the offseason. He has developed a great drop step, and once he catches the ball, he's gone. Exactly what we were talking about. Like, it's so fast. He's so fast with it. And he's finally taking all the quickness that helps him defensively and helps him rebound, and he's able to translate it into his offense. Which is, it sounds easy when I say it. I can't think of many guys who have actually pulled this off to this level. In their seventh year of playing basketball too. Like, that's the big thing. Like, and I know it's constantly like it's his crutch, but in reality, like, if you're 7 years playing basketball against the best in the world, like, and honestly, what's fast paced in that is those the one-on-one games he's playing with Moses. Speaking 100%. Of Moses, I think I finally understand why he was so underrated. This is interesting. Okay, I'm all ears. It's because he when Kareem was playing. That's true. It's as simple as that. He's just because you notice that they're mentioning Kareem and Moses constantly, right? Yeah. Like, and that makes sense. Like, you're gonna be overshadowed by the guy that won 6 MVPs. Yeah. And then no one ever remembers the number 2, unless you're Wilt Chamberlain, who's averaging 50 points a game. Like, that's the only reason you're gonna be remembered. But, the other thing I think is also, and we talked about this a little bit in previous episodes of this legacy breakdown, Moses's peak was in the dark ages, essentially, like coming out of the 70s into the 80s. He's in Houston, like, nobody's seeing him across the country, very rarely. Like, they have to make the finals. It's not televised still. Yeah, it's like, I don't remember, when does it start getting televised? Do we know that? Future also is going to be there. So it's televised, but it's not live. So the tape delays have been. Sorry, that's what I meant. I meant live. Yeah, but I don't know when they started. It has to be I know this finals is on CBS. I'm pretty sure it's live. Yeah, 100% at this point it's live. Before we continue, I gotta tell you guys, like, comment, subscribe. Who's gonna talk to you guys about this stuff? When have you guys looked up the 1986 season and not just seen the Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers? Like, we're breaking down the Rockets, the team that went to the actual finals, and no one knows about them. So it's crazy. I want to see a couple more likes, man. This team is so underrated, though, too, because we just read they're changing the whole franchise, right? Yeah. Or they're changing the league as we know it. And when has a guy in their, I guess Ralph's in his 3rd year and Hakeem's in his 2nd year, when have 2 guys like that's like if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum beat LeBron in that Eastern Conference Finals in 2018. It's the only thing I could think of that's even closely resembling that. And it's still that. The Oklahoma City Thunder is the only other thing that I could think of. Yeah, there you go. Westbrook and Durant, and they even had more seasons. They weren't like in their 2nd year. They were like at least maybe no, Westbrook was. It was close. It was pretty close. Yeah, because KD was drafted in 08.
they went to the finals in 2012, so it was pretty close,
it's
pretty
4
similar.
Years, yeah.
It's
just like, I don't know. And the further we get into this, I'm very interested in how fast Hakeem becomes a stud superstar, and they got all these nicknames for him. So I had some fun. I had some fun with this.
I saw those.
So the LA Times, we're skipping to January now. Hakeem has pretty good December. They're rolling. They're still undefeated at home, which is kind of amazing. We're going to touch on that in a second. But lately, in his second season with the National Basketball Association, Houston Rockets center Hakeem Olajuwon has been called the Nigerian Night Stalker.
Yeah. Wait, time out.
Is that racist? Is that racist? It feels racist. I don't like it.
Do you know what the Night Stalker is?
No. This is why I don't know how I feel about it.
He was a serial killer. He literally broke. Yeah, he was like, I think
in California.
Yeah, California.
Lindsay,
I was going to say Cali.
This? I know about the Night Stalker.
He broke into people's homes, would literally like eat their fruit and shit, kill them.
What?
And then watch look at their IDs and stuff, and like visualize like
he was on
he
crazy
was a freaking
drugs.
psychopath. Yeah, he was a psycho. That's why I thought this was crazy. I'm like, to call him that is like, what made them feel that way? Like,
now I'm sure it's like racism.
What?
No, I don't like that. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I get what they're trying to do with the what do you call it? Not onomatopoeia. Is it onomatopoeia? What are they trying to do here?
Alliteration.
Thank you. I get what they're trying to do with the alliteration.
Oh, okay.
But I just felt.
I feel like there needs to be one more N in there.
I felt gross.
I feel like it should be the Nigerian Night Stalker nigga.
No.
Yeah,
I'm positive they're not putting that in the LA Times. I'm sure of it.
I mean,
Dario, how about this? I felt like you would love this one. Olajuwon says his last name translates to always on top.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait.
That's what I was talking about. I was hype as hell when I saw it. I was like, talk your shit, Hakeem.
Always on top. Always fucking her hard. Always on top. Always on top.
Always
fucking
missionary. I do what I gotta do. I get in, I get out, man.
You will never ride on the stick. I will always be going hard. That's all I could think of. I was like, wow, Hakeem.
I did not think of it that way. I thought, like,
that was the title of the article. Hakeem, always on top. I was like, ew.
I wasn't thinking of it like sex, man. Like, I was thinking of like just like always
He's a
winning
verse
or
top,
something.
okay?
Like,
hey,
damn.
I'm the guy who's always bringing up dicks on the show. So of course I'm thinking about it in a sexual manner. But as of January, Olajuwon is averaging 24.7 points, 5th in rebounding with an average of 11.8 per game, and 3rd in blocks with 3.05 block shots. He's 4th in the league in points. I somehow skipped that.
Yeah, no.
Olajuwon said, I have more confidence now. I know what it's all about, what to expect from the other players. Last year, I was just feeling my way along. Coach Bill Fitch said, he will be a great one. He's got the ability to dig down in the last 2 minutes. He's played with fouls. He's played with pain. He's just the kind of player that doesn't seem to bother. Here's my favorite part of this article. There are a lot of players that want the ball in the clutch, but they don't go get it, Fitch said. But there are others that will kill their own teammates to get the ball.
Yeah.
That's Olajuwon.
Yeah.
Man, makes me think about that summer Kobe and Hakeem had together. It must have gone so much smoother than I can... Like, I'm sure it went well, but after reading that quote, I'm sure it went fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sure it went phenomenally.
That's why a lot of... And I
Kobe's
think that's
the only
why...
other guy. Kobe and MJ are the only other guys I've ever heard described like that by other humans.
Honestly, like, I've heard stories of like Magic being like that. When I know that everybody talks about like how nice he is, but like when you play against him, he's like ruthless. Like a lot of these greats are like that.
Yeah, but kill their own teammates to get the ball.
Yeah. Remember Magic? Didn't he like clothesline Isaiah or some shit like that in the finals?
Yeah,
that was like his bestie.
But he was never throwing it. He was never doing that to his teammates.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess
he never. He asked to be traded once,
Yep.
And he asked to get his coach fired, but he never really openly shit on his teammate. And we're going to see lots of that from Hakeem over the next couple of seasons.
The only time I can recall off the top of my head where Magic was like hostile towards a teammate was the Dream Team Olympics during like practices with Jordan, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like when we redo his legacy breakdown, though, we might find more of that stuff because we will dig deeper. I feel like we will. Yeah.
Definitely. That you're probably right about that.
Yeah.
But let's see. So Olajuwon, he puts up. Let's see. Utah. Is this it? Olajuwon continued his assault last Tuesday night with 27 points and 14 rebounds against Utah's Mark Eaton, last season's top defensive player. We talked about him, the guy that broke the record for blocks per game in a season.
Yeah.
That still stands to this day.
Yeah.
Still stands to this day.
I don't think that'll ever be broken.
The way the game is moving outward, it feels impossible, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't ever see guys really with 3 blocks a game anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's 5 seems outrageous.
Yeah.
You're probably right. Unless the game dramatically changes, then you're probably right.
I feel like most of those those average per game stats are never going to be broken. Think about it. 50 for rebounding. I think it's like 25 or something. That's Will. I think it's Will, right?
It is Will.
And you got the blocks 5.6. The steals, maybe. The steals, I think it's like
3.5.
It's like 3.5 or something like that. Yeah, which it could be done.
It'll be underneath me.
Yeah, like there's all of that stuff. I think it's just gonna be impossible. Only the steals is really like. Obviously, the turnovers has been easy. We had a couple of them the last couple of years.
I think there's a chance the free throw record could get broken for most free throws in a season. I think that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what that stat is.
It's I think it's Jerry West with most free throws made in a season, but I could be wrong. It'll be on your screen.
James Harden never beat that?
Nope, never beat it.
Even when he was on Houston and he was just like...
He made like... Jerry West made like 900 in a season.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, okay, total. Okay, I was thinking like average.
No. He made 900 in a season. I don't know. That's going to be tough. And you got to... Because you have to be accurate and you have to get to the line. So you have to get hacked and go to the line of one.
I'm surprised James Harden...
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's shocking.
It'll be on your screen if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure. I don't think I'm wrong on that one. I'm pretty sure the last time I looked at it was Jerry West because I was looking at it a lot when we were talking about Shaq for hypotheticals because I was trying to figure out what the free throw situation was for him.
Yeah.
But what do you call it? So Mark Eaton after that game says he's by far the best offensive rebounder in the league right now. He jumps so well, you have to concentrate on him the whole game. Every shot I try to find him and put my body against him, and he still gets the shot. If you're not aggressive with him, it's 40 points and 20 rebounds. This is the second guy who said you got to get a body on this guy or you're fucked. And even with a body on him, it's over.
Yeah. And that makes sense. Like, look at who he's playing with.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
It's literally like exactly what Moses was like. I mean, watching him play, I could see why, because he is playing a lot of inside out. Like,
right.
So I can see the Moses Malone, but do you think that it's overly mentioned with him because of how much they work out in the offseason?
I do think Moses gets too much credit for that. It's brought up too often. Yeah. I do think he gets too much credit for helping Hakeem. Do I think, we talked about this during the college part, do I think that without Moses Malone, does Olajuwon make it to the lengths that he made it? Probably not.
Yeah. I can kind of see right now it making sense, mainly because he says it in this season. I think in this season as well, he does say that he didn't learn from Moses by like taking notes or anything. He learned by playing with him, pretty much. But still, like I do feel like I think there's like a little give and take there. Like it does. I don't think he should get all the credit that he's getting right now. Like
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Olajuwon points against Eaton weren't from fadeaway jumpers. He went right at his larger opponent. That is more like what Moses would do.
Yeah.
And like that's once he I feel like this playoffs, and I don't know yet because I haven't looked into future seasons quite yet, but I feel like once he gets seen through this playoffs, I think that's when we're going to separate the two guys. Because the playoffs is really when you see the dream, the real dream, the guy I know in my soul as one of the most devastating post-up players to play, and he still has all his athleticism and quickness. Like when he straight up murders the Lakers, it's not the way Moses Malone would murder them. Like it's not.
Yep, I agree.
And and I think it might change after this point, but we'll see. We'll see. The Rockets had a 20-0 home record to start this season.
Yeah.
They were second. They're second in the conference with, as of mid-January, they're 25-13 before the 15th of January. They're absolutely on a roll, right?
I'm on the road like Cottonelle. I was made for all this shit. And I'm on the road box office. I'm getting paid for all this.
So, let's see. Oh, here's a good quote. So this is, we're into January now. Houston's rolling. And the New York Times has an article to start January. The dream looks splendid. As if he has emerged from some fashion spread in a men's magazine. But this is the hallway that leads to the Houston Rockets dressing room at the Summit, not a photographer's studio. On this night, his olive suit is neatly pressed and businesslike, and his loafers look like butter-soft Italian leather. He is smiling. The dream always smiles. Why? Because he loves the game, he says. Simple. Hakeem Olajuwon, the gifted young Rocket center, has always played with an obvious joy. From his days as an undergraduate at Houston to now, and he is not yet at the pinnacle. Here's the quote from the Chicago Bulls head coach, Stan Albeck.
This is crazy.
If I had to pick one guy to play for me in the 7th game of an NBA Finals, it would have to be Kareem. But other than that, I'd go with Olajuwon. Now, there's a guy on his team in Chicago that you'd think maybe you'd want in that 7th game. His name's Michael Jordan. The only problem is, and what I realized after I read this quote and after my mind just melted.
Yeah.
Jordan's coming back from his foot. He's been out all year.
Yeah.
So I guess this is an accurate statement for February 1986.
Yeah, they're probably thinking, what if Jordan isn't that guy?
They haven't seen any. 63 hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Yep.
Once that happens, I'm sure the head coach of fucking Michael Jordan would probably say otherwise. But
yeah,
I found that to be astounding. And this is the point that we're at. Right now, nobody is saying Hakeem should have ever been anything but the number 1 overall pick in the 84 draft.
Exactly.
There's denying it.
And I'm sure there's people arguing that he should have won Rookie of the Year last year too. What I find really interesting is the quote before. I know you kind of mentioned this quote, but the same guy, I can't remember what his name was. He says that he is almost unanimously regarded as the league's best young center. No, the title does not belong to Patrick Ewing. Think about this. Just three, maybe 4 years ago, Patrick Ewing and Hakeem faced each other, and it was clear that Patrick Ewing was at a much higher level than him at that time, right? Because he had all the extra experience. And to think in that same time frame, it's looked at now that Hakeem's like better than him. Like, and that's very interesting to me. I know the extra NBA experience matters, but to think that that quick of a time frame, especially when that was that's like half of his basketball experience. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. He's just like very literally true. This dude is like Goku, and I know you don't know what that means, Russell, but a lot of Dragon Ball fans. Yeah, but so pretty much Goku just had like this crazy talent. You could teach him something, and then he'll be better than the master. And this guy is literally learning at that rate, and he's just like getting better and better at that same rate, which is insane.
Yeah. And inevitably he becomes a Super Saiyan.
Yes, exactly.
That's all I know about Goku.
Yeah.
But what do you call it? these are his averages as this article is coming out. And that's good for 10th in points per game, 4th in rebounds, 4th in block shots. And no other player, not even Kareem or Moses Malone, ranks among the top 10 in more than one of those categories.
And so, I'm assuming that's active players, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just for this season. It's for this 86 season.
Okay. Sorry, because when I first read that, I didn't know if they meant like no player has ever ranked in top 10 in all those categories. No. And I was thinking like, I feel like Wilt would have, but now that makes way more sense. Yeah.
But Wilt didn't have block shots, but he would have if he
So pretty much the argument is he's the best center in the league right now.
Yeah, he's in that conversation. Discussion. Yeah.
He's getting in his second year, and a lot of people think, well, Kareem's old, it makes sense. No, Kareem this same year, like he dominates Houston. Like I think he averages over 30 against Houston, which is insane.
When we get to the Western Conference Finals, I'm going to break down those numbers.
We'll break that down, but that's crazy.
Talk about an evolution. I highlighted this in our notes, and it's going to come off kind of weird, but I have a point, I promise. He also has 2 cars, a Porsche and a Mercedes-Benz sedan that has the license plates Dream, DREEM. Kind of like his first name. I was confused why he misspelled it at first, and then I got it. But anyways, when that last fact was reported in a local newspaper not long ago, Olajuwon reacted as any American sports figure would. He scolded the reporter who wrote it and charging invasion of privacy. I brought that up because literally the beginning of last year, Hakeem, we found Hakeem driving his car and not going to practice.
Yeah.
So what did he learn from that experience? Don't let these motherfuckers near your cars ever again. Don't let them near your shit. Don't let them near anything like that. And we'll be good. My life is my life. Stay away. I just thought it was hilarious.
Like the reporters for one season and said, "Fuck that." It's like, you guys.
Get the fuck out of my personal life, you bastards. It's scary how far he has come. At the time, he had a lot of athletic skills. He could run and jump, but not the technical skills. Now he even has those. Here's the Moses stuff. Much of the credit for Olajuwon's improvement is given to Moses Malone, who once played for the Rockets and who visited the University of Houston campus and worked with the young Nigerian. Moses taught him the inside moves off the pivot and played in a lot of one-on-ones. The guy has a tremendous knack for knowing where the ball is, going on a missed shot. That's something Malone doesn't get credit for. Yet, Olajuwon said he learned more by osmosis than by pure instruction. We played each other, Olajuwon said. You can't help but learn. People have it wrong. He did not come in and teach me. He was a pro and I was a freshman in college. We played against each other. He was a good offensive rebounder and I had to block him out. Experience is the best way to learn. So that's exactly what you were saying.
Yeah.
And he's, he wants Moses, give Moses credit, but like, he's right. People have it wrong. He did not just come in and be like, oh, here you go. Here's all my skills.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not how fucking life works.
Yeah, and
Moses could have trained with me for a summer. I'm not going to fucking start putting up 23 and 11 in the NBA. No fucking shot. No chance.
Yeah. But it goes back to like anybody who's ever played basketball and played with friends. If you have like a really good friend, like a friend who plays basketball really well, and you play with them consistently, you're gonna. At some point, you're going to learn some of their moves. You're going to like learn how to guard them. You're going to because you get so used to that, constantly dealing with that every single day. Like you have to learn. If not, you're going to just keep getting destroyed, So it's the same thing. It's just at a much higher level, obviously, because they're fucking superhumans.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I wanted to jump back and touch on because it's an important game in the career of Hakeem Olajuwon. His first ever triple-double with blocks. I believe he is the first player to ever do this. Yeah. He's the first player to ever put up 25-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, and 10-plus blocks in a game. And this feat has not been done since 1994. And I'm pretty sure it's like Hakeem 4 times and David Robinson once in 94, and it has not happened again.
Yeah.
So, very unique stat line. He also has 7+ assists. That's what's never been done.
Okay, I was gonna say because I'm like Andrew Bynum definitely
10
did.
plus, 11, 10 plus blocks and 7+ assists. So almost a quadruple double, which he's gonna get a little later in his career. But wild stat line against the Warriors, and
your favorite player in the world, Andrew Bynum. I'm pretty sure he did that in like 2011 or something like that.
He's the opposite mentality of Hakeem Olajuwon. He fucking hated basketball. Piece of shit. Once Kareem and Moses are out of the game, he'll be the next dominant center. Of all the guys I've played against, he's the best, said Nets center Mike Kaminsky. Take that however you want it. I never heard of that guy until I started reading this, but he's the best. Hakeem's the best guy he's ever played against. So Hakeem's going to get hurt. He's going to tear. He's going to sprain a ligament in his knee in mid-January, and this is going to be the first time he misses any playing time. He had played 134 straight games before getting hurt, and the injury to Olajuwon forced Coach Bill Fitch to alter his starting lineup for the first time this season. Ralph Sampson, who had been the Rockets center before Olajuwon's arrival, will replace him at center. 2 things I want to bring up out of this. Number 1, Bill Fitch, who has a championship. He coached Larry Bird's first championship a few years ago in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be one of the original great adjustment guys in the NBA. He makes adjustments throughout this whole year, and especially in the playoffs, that are awesome. And it's something that coaches, even to this fucking day, Mike Budenholzer, can't fucking do. And I was astounded that because I always talk shit about how rudimentary the game is in the 80s. So to see this guy was like making legitimate adjustments and really leading his team as a head coach was great to fucking see.
Yeah,
great to see.
And it's definitely he definitely does it consistently throughout the entire year, and that's really what keeps them ready throughout the whole playoffs and everything. And I think
100%.
And I think obviously all of the adversity that we're about to start going through, and you're gonna hear what this team goes through for the rest of the year. That's I think what helps them really push and make a finals run.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the adversity. You're right. This is like a string of adversity for sure. So Ralph Sampson for this whole season had a dip in scoring. Rebounds went up a little bit, but he went from 22 a game to 19 a game, and his field goal percentage dropped pretty dramatically. Or not dramatically, but a couple of points. I assume Ralph kept them together, but I was kind of interested to see how that was going to happen.
Yeah.
He totally turns it up. He turned it up like Ralph said, Hakeem's out. No problem, my guy. 25, 14, 1.6 steals, 2.6 blocks, 3.5 assists, 48% shooting, playing 41 minutes a game over the next 2 weeks.
Yep. He pretty much goes back, to a better version of what he was when his rookie year.
It's just a stat, like, the depth on this team to be able to do that, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 2, like, for Ralph to just be like, it's my time. I turn it up. We've seen guys be put in that position before and not able to do it. And he just
especially at his age, right? He's 25. He's 25 years old. Yep. He literally just 3 years ago he was the first overall pick. It was supposed to be his team,
rookie of the year.
And he rookie of the year, and he was so quick to just be okay with the adjustment with Hakeem.
Yep.
And kind of just go with the flow, and that's part of the reason this team just consistently started winning.
If this happened in today's era, or maybe a few years ago, it would be a Ralph's being a little bitch type situation.
Well, really? Why?
I think people would look at it the same way it was like with Westbrook and Durant, because you know how Westbrook was always the more vocal guy at that point. And people were like, Durant, you got to step it up. You got to step up to Westbrook. Like I feel like people would be saying that about Ralph Sampson. Ralph, you're 7'4". You're a freak. You can play all 5 positions if you wanted to. You should be the leader of this team. Like, I could see media starting serious drama with that. More than what they did here.
But I think the issue with the Westbrook and Durant thing was that everybody felt like Durant was the clear better talent and Westbrook was and in this case I think mostly everybody thinks that Hakeem is the clear better talent, right?
See, I'm not totally sure about that. I know what you're saying because we've been reading articles about how people are saying he's the best center. I get that. But I think people definitely feel like Ralph is either on his level or like maybe just I don't think it's a head and shoulders situation. I really don't. Because of how he's viewed at this point. Like, the fact that they could move his 7'4" ass to forward and what we're going to see from him passing the ball in the playoffs is like a different kind of cat. And I don't know. You could totally be right, though. You could totally be right.
I gotcha. Yeah. So they end up getting into some more adversity throughout this time frame.
Insane. That's literally what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Mr. John Lucas.
So you know how we talked about the Chicago Bulls being the cocaine circus of the 80s? I guess it wasn't just the Chicago Bulls, you know. They had cocaine in Texas too, you know.
It's the whole fucking league. It's the whole fucking league at this point.
You get cocaine and you get cocaine you go get cocaine.
Yeah.
Booger sugar for everyone. Yay.
Jay Prince was just giving out cocaine to everybody. Yeah.
John Lucas, who's having an awesome season. 15.5 points and 9 assists a game. Those 9 assists a game is good for 7th in the league at this point. He is facilitating. Some quotes about John Lucas is that he's an amazing alley-oop passer, which is ideal for Ralph and Hakeem to do work on the inside. Solid at running the show, but John Lucas was treated for cocaine dependency at the center in December 1984. He was waived by the team early last season when he missed a flight to Oakland, California, and subsequently failed a urine test for cocaine. But he returned to the club late in the season last year after his treatment. The latest test was conducted when Lucas agreed to it after he missed a practice Wednesday afternoon for what he called family reasons. The Rockets publicity director, Jim Foley, said that Lucas has suffered a relapse of his drug problem, marking the second such incident since the implementation of the anti-drug agreement between the NBA and its players.
Does he not have a family? Like, why was family reasons like the thing that was like, oh, he's back on drugs? Like, does he not have a family?
I don't know. That's a good question.
That shouldn't be something that I find funny.
I was not expecting that question. Well, here's what so Grantland, you remember Grantland, Bill Simmons' first attempt at a website. They did an oral history about this 80s run, and the John Lucas thing gets brought up in pretty good detail. And with Lucas, here's one of the players on the team. With Lucas, there was no question of him relapsing. He was completely out of control. So they must have just not said it at the time, but he was probably starting shit in the back. Like, there was probably, like, being, high on cocaine just while he was there. It's pretty... Generally, like, it's fairly obvious when you're high on cocaine. In my experience of seeing people high on cocaine in my lifetime, it's fairly obvious.
I've honestly genuinely never, or at least maybe I have, but I never knew that they were high off cocaine.
Once you've seen it and you know it's happening once, it's easy to pick out after that point.
Yeah, she's right. She's right. There's this person I used to work with, who will remain unnamed for their own sake, and they were driving, and all of a sudden I just saw and start to like grit their teeth in like a weird, and then they just started like messing with while driving, mind you, doing 25 miles over the fucking speed limit, and I'm sitting next to them in the car going, this is not nice. This is not normal. This is not fucking normal. You can feel it. You can feel it when you're around something that's just out of character.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Was it a male or a female?
Can't.
You can't? Whoa,
nope,
what? Why?
Not gonna do it.
What?
Not gonna do it. Because
Huh?
I actually would like to keep this story in the show. So I'm gonna keep it and leave it as anonymous as possible. That's the best way to do it. But no, when you see it, point being, I bring that story up to go. When you see it, you kind of know, and I'm sure that's kind of what the situation was. He was probably dribbling the fucking ball like this and passing it, but it was way out of bounds, missing people. Fucking. And then after 2 quarters of practice, he's fucking dead on the ground. He's like, oh, my heart's here. I can't take it anymore.
Oh, my God.
Coach Fitch called a meeting. He said, we can do 2 things. We can keep John and make sure he stays clean and finishes the season, or we can let John go and help him go to the clinic and get help. Me and Alan Lavelle, by this time, we're 2 senior players. We put our hands up and say he's got to get help. These young kids are saying, and by young kids, I got to imagine they're talking about Hakeem and maybe Ralph. These young kids are saying, man, you are only saying that because you want his spot. I said, no, I don't want to see him dead. That's where we're at. Like,
that's crazy.
Len bias has not happened yet. Len bias has not happened yet. So people in sports are just like, whatever, let's do coke and chill. We're good.
That happens next year, right? Doesn't it?
I think so. I'll have it on your screen to be sure.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But John Lucas in the oral history, who was still alive, and I'm pretty sure is still alive. If he's not, it'll be underneath me. But Bill Fitch saved my life. He was the one coach that told me that enough was enough. So there you go. Done deal.
Yeah.
But they need a new point guard. And again, this is where Bill Fitch is like a fucking master.
Yeah.
An absolute master. Because he...
And this could easily break a team at this point.
100%.
We've seen
100%.
many teams break for much less.
Facts.
I.e. LA Clippers 2020.
Rub it in. Rub it into Lindsay. What do you call it?
We're gonna fight, Dario. The next time I see you, we're throwing hands.
I just did always, whenever we can, you know? Just gotta remind
throwing hands, bro.
So Alan Lavelle, or Level, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but before being asked
Let's
to
go
start...
Lavelle. That sounds way cooler than Level.
Yeah, I think so too, right? I think it sounds
Level. Like...
But listen, 6 points a game, 2.7 assists, shooting 45%. Nothing special. If I was told that they're going to start this guy, I would be like, why? Why the fuck are they going to start this guy?
He's also like, he didn't get much minutes and probably not like, he hasn't had the ball that often, you know what I mean? He's probably just running.
And how tall is he?
Let me guess. I'm going 6'2".
6'2"?
Yeah.
6'1". Pretty good.
That was close.
Not bad.
Dang.
Not bad.
Yeah, let's go.
Is it Level?
As a starter.
I'm going with Level.
Level?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Man,
as a starter,
he looks black. Ain't he black? That man's name is Lavelle, bro.
I'm going with Level.
There's no getting around that shit. He is Lavelle and that's it.
Yeah, man. What we talking about?
12 starts, 34 minutes a game. It jumps to 17 points a game. His field goal percentage goes up. He almost gets 2 steals a game. 5.5 assists. Solid. Fucking solid.
Yeah.
Like, I was really impressed. And then he breaks his wrist. And then he has to fucking be out. So they're fucked for the playoffs.
Yeah,
they are
exactly.
Fucked.
Yeah. It already sucked that they only had like 20 games left and they lose their starting point guard. And then the guy that's supposed to be like, all right, we're setting up the like this pace and how the team's gonna flow with this guy, and then he fucking breaks his wrist. That sucks so bad.
Yeah. Insane, right? So now they move to Robert Reed. Robert Reed is 6'8" and is technically a power forward. And he was the 6th man the entire year. And he says he's up for 6th man of the year and has a chance to get it. So Robert Reed said, Bill Fitch called me over and said, I'm going to start at point. I'm going to start you at point. I said, you are? Okay. He said, but here it is. if I start you at point, it's going to take you off the list for Sixth Man of the Year. I knew Sixth Man of the Year, if I win, that's going to be $1 million the next year. I looked at him and I asked him very honestly, Coach, if you put me at point, do you think we can go win the championship? That's what I need to know. Bill Fitch said, yeah, you can take us to the championship. I said, all right, let's do it. And at that, he gets 5 starts and sacrifices, which is, I think, is crazy. I don't think that would even happen today. I feel like he would still be nominated for Sixth Man of the Year.
Yeah, he would still be qualified. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Could we look at the? I would like to see Sixth Man of the Year, like the breakdown for that one too, just to see who won it. Because
yeah, sure.
Yeah, because that to me that's crazy. Like you would think only 5 starts. Like I've seen people win Sixth Man of the Year and they still started at least a couple games. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Pretty sure Ginobili's won Sixth Man of the Year, and he started some of the in that season. But maybe that changed since then.
I don't know, because I feel like Bill Walton didn't start 1 game this year. I feel like he definitely did. Yeah, he started 2 games. Yeah, I don't get that. Yeah. So
they would just line to that boy.
I think you're full of shit. Or Robert Reed, I think you're full of shit, Papa, because fucking there are guys on this list who have started, and almost all of these guys have better stats than you, buddy. So
yeah, I mean, crazy. Bill Walton, like his stats ain't really that crazy.
Yeah, these stats are buns, in my opinion.
Yeah, like when you're looking at the other 6 mans, like it's not that.
But the Celtics are just so fucking dominant this year.
Yeah,
so fucking dominant.
Yeah,
I can't believe Hakeem didn't get any Defensive Player of the Year love, but all these guys played a ton of games.
Yeah, and he got injured at some point, and I'm sure the amount of games mattered much more at that point. Because how many games did Hakeem play?
68.
Because he
got hurt, but he's 4th in MVP voting.
Yeah,
and I tried to make a case to move him up because I really think his season this year is really impressive. This is the first time ever that a player has averaged 2 steals and 3 blocks for an entire season.
Yeah.
And he was top 11 in points per game, rebounds per game, blocks per game, and steals per game. For some reason, when I went on Basketball Reference, it didn't show up that he was whatever for tops and rebounds, but I'm counting it because he was. Fucking.
Yeah. Well, it's probably because the number of
maybe,
number of
but
games.
Then wouldn't it work for points and blocks? I don't know, confusing. But
yeah,
4 different categories.
Sense.
4 different categories. He's top 11. Yeah. There's nobody.
But who do you put him over? That. Why is Dominique second? I guess
because
that's
the East was a tougher conference. The East was a tougher conference.
Were they second in the East?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they did go to the Eastern Conference Finals too. Yeah, that makes sense. And Magic I think it's hard to put him. Yeah, I think it's also hard to put him over Magic when literally the Lakers won almost 7-8 more games than the Rockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Didn't they win 65 games?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they won way more than. Yeah, it was huge. It's a huge.
Both won 60 plus. Celtics 67.
Yeah, the Lakers won 11 more games. Yeah.
If the Rockets and the Hawks switch conferences, I think Hakeem is second. I just think people look at the conference.
Yeah. Yep.
And say,
do you think that Rockets team wins that many games in the East though?
Hell yeah.
You think? You think Definitely. They can?
They're so deep, which is probably the other reason why Hakeem doesn't get higher on the list, is because their depth is outrageous and their coaching is amazing.
Yeah. Could you go back to that summary, that breakdown of the season? So if Houston goes over, they're 4th in the East right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's hard to argue that they'd win more.
That's true. I get what you're saying. I mean? Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Because he would, but you're probably right. He probably still would be second.
Competitive. Such competitive.
That's crazy, right?
So
that's
fucking
insane.
competitive.
Yeah.
The Rockets go into the playoffs as the 2 seed. They're going to play the Sacramento Kings in the first round. Now, I don't know shit about this Sacramento team. Nothing. I don't even know any of these players, if I'm being real. Eddie Johnson. I know who Mike Woodson is because he coached the Knicks.
Didn't Eddie Johnson play for the Lakers in the 90s? Or is that not that guy?
That's why I'm not sure if it's that guy. Maybe it is.
No, he's not. It's a different
Never heard of this guy.
Yeah.
But I only know these guys because some of these guys because of their coaching careers. And I know Otis Thorpe because we're going to see him later in Hakeem's legacy breakdown because he ends up a Rocket. But
gotcha.
This is how bad the Western Conference is.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah, I can't blame us for not knowing these people. Don't.
Look at this. They're really taking it easy. They're letting the others do all the damage.
Yeah.
This is crazy. And Robert Reed, 18 points a game, 5 assists, 2.3 steals. Doing work at that 6'8" point guard spot.
Yeah, and look at how they both shot extremely efficient too. 56 and 58%. 53%
so it was just like as a team.
Yeah, it was a nice quick sweep. As a team. Nice quick sweep.
205 from 3 for the entire series.
Yeah.
Ralph Sampson hit a 3. Like
1 for 1, let's go.
This poor bastard.
Yeah, it's probably one of those.
Poor bastard, man.
Yeah. Who, Ralph Sampson?
Yeah. He's so revolutionary. He's such a nice guy. He's such a good fucking teammate. And this is going to be his last year of relevance.
Yeah.
Like, and after this year, his legs literally explode.
Yeah. Like, and he's a nice guy to his teammates. Let's just make that clear, because there's going to be some stuff that we go through that a lot of people, especially in certain areas, wouldn't say that he's a nice guy. So I just wanted to make that clear.
It's great. Oh, yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. But, like, it's so here's there is a story on Ralph Sampson that I thought was really interesting during the first round. So I'll bring it up now.
Yeah.
Ralph Sampson was supposed to be the franchise when he showed up on the Houston Rockets 2 years ago. He was so good as a college player that Red Auerbach got annoyed with the whole state of Virginia when Sampson elected to stay in college right there than rather going hardship and letting the NBA fight over him like lions over a prize zebra. God, the writing, always fire.
I agree. The writing in all of this is amazing. And I think the issue is the game by game breakdowns are basic though.
Very basic.
I think that's where like now it's like now it's just shit all over the place. Really, it's the game by game breakdown.
Well, that's because it's called Sports Center. They don't need to do that anymore. It's just called here are the highlights.
Now you get at least podcasts where like players break it down, and it's at least a little better. But that's the only thing that was like the criticism of listening to the commentators of the 90s and stuff. It was like just like they would just shit on players' character. Speaking
of shitting on players' character.
Yeah.
Talking about Ralph Sampson. He played with the deadpan look of a patient poker player on a long cruise. He was good, but he wasn't flashy. He threw in points from all over the court, but he didn't dunk them. He didn't do any of the fancy turnaround behind the back shit. He didn't play an overpowering in-your-face game. He didn't knock people off the ball. He didn't scare anybody. He didn't scowl enough. He looked like a guy working on a lathe. He threw in. He made 1,720 points, 21 points a game, and he blocked 197. Just going through his stats. His team won 29 games, 15 more than it had the season before, but that was still only good for last place. Ralph, for his part, thought that if they wanted him to play Dracula, they should have given him a cape and a coffin to sleep in. If they wanted him to frighten little children, they should have rented him a gorilla suit. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. But if it was basketball they wanted, Ralph Sampson felt he was giving them an impeccable 40 minutes a night. He was Rookie of the Year, brought respectability to the franchise, blah, 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 blah. But Houston was not satisfied. It wanted instant Jabbar, Bill Russell, muscle. It wanted caveman basketball. It wanted its Sampson to kill the Lions.
Yeah, and this goes
Throw
back
his weight around.
To your point for last season. I believe you said this, but this is a franchise that clearly didn't know what they were doing. Like why would you expect you drafting one player to change your entire franchise like completely. Like I think that's you need a generational talent, right? And it doesn't happen often. Like how often does that really happen?
But I think that's the crux of this article is Ralph Sampson is considered a generational talent that just isn't coming to form the way society or the media or general basketball fans have expected from him.
There's pretty flashes. It's pretty much that's the standard they had him at, and he just didn't live up to it.
Trying to get to the
crazy.
Quote that trying to get to the quote that like perfectly encapsulates that. This season, Ralph's numbers are better. Houston went clear to the top in its division, but the league hasn't run to the cellar yet. The Twin Towers dominate the skyline, but not necessarily the backboard. The Celtics do not tremble. The rub is that Sampson seems to be a point guard in a center's body. He has touch, quickness, a feel for the court, an instinct for the flow of the game. He is miscast as a power forward. He plays a finesse game, not an intimidating one. In a large sense, so does Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and therein lies the grand plot, the scenario of the future. It goes like this. The league needs a viable franchise in Los Angeles. The gate demands it. Television demands it. And so does the public. When Abdul-Jabbar goes, the Lakers go from Showtime USA to a lounge act. They are shopping for that next big man in the pivot. Sampson would fit right in. He wouldn't need a club or a fright wig to play with his chorus line. He could be himself. His skills are not too dissimilar from Kareem's. Sampson playing forward is like a Bogart playing a priest. He can do it, but why? The man who isn't Chamberlain could become at last the man who is Ralph Sampson. That's kind of the idea. People think that because he's playing, but that's the idea. The people want Sampson to be the guy, and they see he has all the skills and talent, but he doesn't. Something's missing. It's too finesse. It's too. He's like
they're literally comparing him to the greatest.
Yeah, that's what they think. That's how they feel about
it. Arguably the greatest center of all time, Wilt Chamberlain. Like, and they say, and their argument is he should be able to be Wilt Chamberlain. He's taller than him. He's like it just does. That's just.
It's about what he does on the floor. It's about what he produces on the floor. It's about that 25 and 14 we saw when he started and there wasn't Hakeem. That's what people are thinking. That's what people are thinking. They're like, man, he's really holding back. Right? Yeah. That's where people are at this point.
But as you would, like if you have a second guy that they're building around, like he's playing his role, and I think that's why the team is winning. Like,
agreed.
Like it's as simple as that.
1000% agree. 1000% agree.
Like, and when they need him, he shows up, and I think that's big. That's more important in my opinion.
There are a couple of times here in these first couple playoff rounds where Ralph does go missing magically, but we're going to move on to the Denver series. Now, the Denver series is interesting because Denver, I believe, has the fastest pace in the NBA. Pretty sure. Yeah, 106.7, which is good for first. They are fucking flying up and down the court. Flying. 115 points a game in the regular season. They ousted Clyde Drexler and the Portland Trailblazers in 4 games in the first round. And this is the Alex English era. Alex English, 30 points a game, basically from posting up and transition play. He's another one of those guys that I don't know how his career works in 2023, but in the 80s, monster. Absolute monster. 50% shooting. Fucking beast. They also have Fat Lever. 14 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists in the regular season. Solid talent, good others. And they run fast, which means Hakeem and Ralph and everybody's numbers are going the fuck up.
Yeah.
So Hakeem's going to get to 29 points a game, 12.5 rebounds, 2.2 steals, and 3.5 blocks. Ralph is 24.5 points a game, 13.5 rebounds, 5 assists a game, 2 steals, 2 blocks.
Yeah.
So Ralph is literally playing this amoeba position at this point. Bringing the ball up court every once in a while. Yeah. Multiple guys over 5 assists a game here.
Yeah.
They really put it on him. Held this entire team to 44% shooting for the series in 6 games. But they were fast, and that's what kept them. That's what kept this series long, as opposed to a sweep.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and Hakeem's gonna have,
and that makes sense. Like
awesome games.
Because I mean, Houston could play fast, but I'm pretty like what they really, really want to do is really like obviously slow it down and have their guys in the post.
Yeah, exactly. They want to be as dominant as possible.
Yeah, but surprisingly, Hakeem is actually Hakeem and the Rockets are actually pretty decent in the fast break because they pretty much just start going, and Hakeem still has that motor.
Yeah, he's got the motor, but he's got that experience from college because that's what Phi Sigma Jamma was all about.
Yeah.
Transition play, like that was their shit.
And obviously, when you have Sampson, who's 7'4", but he was talked about as if he could play point guard. Like that makes it easy when you have your two centers as like guys who could run the court and do what they got to do.
So this is Game 6 against the Nuggets, and Hakeem is going to get ejected. I just think it's fun to watch all the bullshit that goes on.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Here's Hakeem being a dick to this guy, just shoving him, and it's starting to get a little chippy and physical.
Yeah. And then he ends up putting hands on the refs, and he didn't realize
right there
that was that was a no. And to put this in perspective, last year he got ejected on the closeout game that didn't allow them to move to the second round. And this year they're in a closeout game to end the series and go to their first Western Conference championship together as a team. Or I mean finals as a first Western Conference finals as a team, and he again can't hold his composure and gets ejected.
Such a temper.
Yeah.
Such a temper. Right there was the elbow. They're going to show it. Or they just showed the ejection. That was the elbow.
Yeah.
And that's the finish of the game. Nuggets go home, and the Rockets are going to go to the Western Conference Finals.
I would like to state some things that went on with the commentators in that last game. Every single time Hakeem was in the post and he did his little dream shake, they constantly said that he was just walking and traveling. Like, and there were times wild. That I just had it in my earphones, so I automatically played, and I was just watching it go. And I noticed they said it one time, but obviously it's cut up of all of the highlights. And I just constantly, every single time he got the ball in the paint, they kept on saying it's a walk, it's a travel. And I'm like, are you watching this? Because I started going backwards and looking at his feet, and I'm like, nope, he didn't walk there. He's good.
Yeah, Olajuwon's gonna have 12 in that fourth quarter before he gets ejected.
Yeah. And that might also be obviously no one's ever really had that footwork in the paint.
Yeah.
Even Jordan doesn't get that until the late 90s. Yeah. So it's really new to the game. That kind of footwork, right?
How fast he is. And and this is, now that we're in the playoffs, you're starting to see all of it. It's all kind of coming together. You're going to see, this is the first real sight of the dream, with the shakes, like you were saying, and the turnaround shots, and just being lethal on the block.
Yep.
It's the beginning.
It's not like the obviously the mastered form of it, obviously, right. But you definitely see all of that.
But Lakers have the Rockets' number for the record. LA Times is going to write this before the playoffs. In 3 Laker-Rocket games this season, all won by the Lakers, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is averaging 41.3 points per game.
I had to double-check that because I didn't believe it, and it was true.
Isn't that insane?
It's crazy. And because I'm like, this is old Kareem. Why is he wilding?
This is ancient Kareem. This is 40-year-old Kareem.
Yeah.
Slapping the dog shit out of everybody.
Yeah, and I think, and not to jump ahead, but I think game 1 really shows why that was happening.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll get into it, but
we're actually getting into that right now. But against the Rockets, since Hakeem's rookie season, Abdul-Jabbar has averaged 35 points, 8 rebounds a game, shooting 65%, and the Lakers are 7-1. So they have despite the fact that they have the Twin Towers, they have no fucking answer for Kareem. Ralph is just getting his ass busted by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which is wild. But let's get into game one.
Which is crazy because Kareem is like stronger than him, so that's why he's able. And I wouldn't think that Kareem would be stronger than anybody.
Yeah, Kareem's like, finally, I get to bully someone. As he fucking backs him down.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. What were you going to say about game one? Because you were about to say something, and then I
So that was the big deal with why Kareem. Obviously, Kareem puts up 31 points, and the issue is he's physical enough to really throw off Sampson, even though Sampson is slightly taller than him, right?
Right.
So he the skyhook isn't able to be blocked as often in this case because he's able to really put his body into him when he's playing him, and then obviously Hakeem can't really guard him because he's 2 to 3 inches shorter. So like that, it makes sense why the one-on-one matchups they can't really fuck with him.
Yeah,
and it really is apparent in this game one.
Yeah, and also they. Oh, here we go. So Rob Sampson said, kind of to your point. Oh, shut up over there. My Jeopardy. Your Jeopardy noise. I heard that. If I front him, they're going to lob over me. Ralph Sampson said. If I play behind him, it works better. I'll play better Tuesday than I did today. Kareem is playing better now than I can actually remember him playing. Kareem had 28 of his points in the first 3 quarters. He had 20 at half. The Rockets got as close as 3 points 3 times early in the third quarter. But led by Magic Johnson, the Lakers took a 10-point advantage midway through the period and weren't seriously threatened after that. Johnson had 10 of his 26 points in the third quarter and finished with 18 assists.
Bruh, 26 and 18 is insane, bro. Like,
it's just a regular Magic Johnson playoff game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Magic literally always turned it up in the playoffs. I remember that. Yep. I remember in our very short legacy breakdown of Magic Johnson, that was one thing that was super apparent is when he was in the playoffs, his numbers were like video game numbers.
26 points, 18 assists, 7 rebounds, 3 steals.
Bro.
Dominant.
That's insane.
Completely dominant. I just love that Magic Johnson got 1 sentence in this fucking article, and Kareem got most of it for scoring 31.
And that's what I remember during Magic Johnson's legacy breakdown. I felt like it was clear Magic Johnson was the best player on the team, but it was just Kareem had been dominating for so long that it was like they always just wanted a cocky Kareem, and it's like I don't know. Like, I think,
and it's crazy because Kareem didn't even like the fucking media.
Yeah, I know, but it was just I don't know. No,
here's the big adjustment they make. So they switch and put Rodney McRae, who in this game has 3 assists, 8 points, 5 rebounds. They put him in more of a facilitator role, and when they did that sole adjustment changed the entire series. This guy averaged 3.6 assists per game in the regular season. For this series, he averages
2 adjustments
8.2.
though. Yeah,
8.2 assists.
Yeah, I agree with that. He definitely, and he also play on Magic.
On Magic, I think it's.
But the other adjustment,
I know what you're talking about,
that's made that really to me is what was the focal point of it was the adjustment they made on Kareem. What they started doing was doing it was almost like a facade double team. So what they would do is have Ralph Sampson on Kareem, and they would always have help. So pretty much you had either Hakeem or Rob, Ralph, whoever was guarding him, and the other person was over to the side for whenever he turned for his skyhook. Pretty much they were just swatting it out. So because in game 2 there's 12 blocks in that game, right? And 11 of them come from Hakeem and Ralph. And it was just straight up, that was the thought process. It was literally every time you turn and try to go for your move, we're just swatting your shit. And I think that really threw off Kareem.
Yeah, wow.
And
crazy
he had to,
game.
Yeah.
5 blocks, 6 for Hakeem. And what did Kareem finish with? 9 for 26 on 26 shots, though.
Yeah.
So you're right. Massive adjustment.
Yep. So he went from 31 points the previous game and pretty much dominance to obviously 21 points on 26 shots. It's crazy.
That's a massive difference.
Yeah.
And then Lewis Lloyd scored 10 of his 24 points in the fourth quarter in game 2.
Yeah, it was just literally a freaking block fest. It's insane. I thought that was crazy seeing that. Like
the Rockets were 41-5 at home this season. They're 5-0 in the playoffs, and that's where they're going to be heading for game 3, right? Because this one was in LA.
Yep.
Yeah. So going into Houston, now it's tied up. I'm sure still people feel like they got a game, no big deal. I'm sure they'll go into Houston, they'll take care of business. Do what the Lakers do.
LA was 100% massive favorites going into this series, and I'm sure they were still probably big favorites going into this game.
This is probably my favorite game of the series.
Yeah, this was the freaking slugfest, right?
Yeah, this was fucking awesome. So this is a straight up shootout of the stars. And all the stars are wilding.
Yep. And I really appreciate Kareem's adjustment himself in that. So pretty much what he had to do is obviously he knew that he couldn't just go to his first move anymore. So what he would constantly have to do is kind of like do a lot of pump faking, get by them in order to make shots. And it was definitely a harder 33 points this game was because he had to constantly do those shifting because you have dudes 2 7-footers just jumping at you the whole time. Like
how many blocks did they get in this time? Significantly less. Significantly less blocks.
And that just shows I think that just shows his veteranness, like being able to adjust so smoothly the next game to that. But it doesn't last for the rest of the series.
It's crazy. So Hakeem has 40 points and 12 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 3 assists. Magic Johnson, 17 points, 20 assists.
Yeah.
20 with a 96.5 pace. They're not even going that fast. He has 20 assists.
Yeah.
That's insane. And James Worthy with 29 points. And all the stars showed up. And in this fun-ass game.
20 assists with only 3 turnovers. Like, that's, like, crazy. That's insane. Yeah.
Outrageous.
And what the crazy part is, they start really playing uncharacteristic. Like, when you look at it, throughout the first 3 quarters, it's literally just a normal Laker game. Like it's Magic doing his thing, Kareem doing his thing. They look like they're controlling the game, and then when you get to the fourth quarter, things start just completely going disarray. So they missed their last 4 3-point shots, and I'm like, why the fuck are you shooting a 3-point shot? You're the fucking Lakers. Like, it's literally just give it a Kareem or, like, get easy layups through Magic. Like, why is the last couple shots 3-pointers?
1 for 9 for the game.
Yeah. And that was my question. And the fucking answer is they got 2 7-foot giants that's going to block the shit out of you if you try to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally... And Lakers played an amazing game.
Yeah.
And Houston just played better. And I think this is really what caused Houston to like kind of take off in this series, because it was just like standpoint. You played your best game and we still beat you.
Yeah. So Olajuwon, who has been playing forward instead of center during much of this postseason, yet another insanely good adjustment by Bill Fitch, scored 11 points during a frenetic final period. 4 of those points came during a crucial stretch when the Rockets outscored the Lakers 9-2 to build a 114-107 lead with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Olajuwon also had a game-high 12 rebounds, 5 on offense, that carried Houston to a commanding 45-34 advantage on the boards. Pat Riley says, He was every place he had to be at the right time. He was just incredible. The Lakers, with their wealth of proven talent, could never shake the Rockets. They never led by more than 4 points, and they were often guilty of play that was uncharacteristic of the champions, to your point.
Yeah.
Riley called the third quarter a piece of art, and it was the most exciting 12 minutes of the game. The lead changed 13 times, and James Worthy had 15 in the third quarter. No one was giving in.
Yeah, I really think that this is why people like the series like this is why people really talk about the 80s and why this was like the golden era of basketball. Yeah. It's just because obviously you didn't have the 3-point. Like now it's just so much fluctuation with the 3-point shot that you can go on freaking 15-point runs and then the other team starts going on a run and it doesn't feel like it's as tight as like here it's just back and forth. Like you don't really see them going up 15, 20. Like in this era, you go up 20 points to get it's a blowout. Like you're almost done. So it's really interesting to like constantly see them go back and forth. Like this was a dogfight throughout the whole series and especially up to this point.
If you can find this game on YouTube, I suggest watching the whole game. It's worth it. It's really good.
Facts.
I watched a good portion of this because I saw all the stats and I was like, ooh.
Yeah. And before you do that, like, comment, subscribe. Who the fuck is telling y'all about this? Who's talking to y'all about this? Huh?
Who told you breaking down
game by game?
Us, motherfucker.
Exactly. We breaking down game by game, motherfucker. Y'all don't get to hear about any of this shit, man.
So Pat Riley has a bunch of good quotes about Hakeem after this game. I said a couple of them, but he believes in the American free enterprise system. Nobody's gotten to him yet and distorted his mind. Centers in this league are supposed to pace themselves. Nobody's told Hakeem to pace himself. Hakeem is irrepressible. He just never stops playing, and he pursues the basketball repeatedly. You can't block him out. He's so persistent and so strong. He just comes right through people. Plus, he jumps from the dotted line, the bottom of the free throw circle. He's a lot like Dominique Wilkins. You've got to check them out 2 feet further or they jump over you. He's a honed athlete. I don't see anything but a honed athlete. He's fast, muscular. He has great strength. At 6'11" or whatever he is, he's like a 6'5" guy. I've never seen a guy make that post move of his, a quick spin to the baseline out of the low post, so the drop step like we were talking about.
Yeah.
He's got 2-3 moves and he makes them quick. Right, left, a little jump hook. Even Olajuwon's faults. He keeps getting thrown out of key games for punching opponents, or antagonizing officials, or figuring out new ways to get 6 fouls. He still has an endearing quality. That is the part that I found interesting. Like, I never knew that Hakeem was such a hothead because he doesn't really get into too many of these in the 90s, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, like, you know, he's just, all you ever, like Kenny Smith says, Hakeem Olajuwon is an honorable person. Like, you don't associate guys like that with throwing hands. And this motherfucker is throwing hands every series.
Yeah.
Every series.
He's also like 20. He's also 23 years old, so he was probably just like...
I feel like honorable people can still throw hands. Like, if they feel like their honor is disrespected, they're like, here, you're going to catch this honor on the chin, bro. Referees?
Yeah, he's been tweaking.
He's fighting refs. He's got a foot on all these referees. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. It is interesting because obviously Hakeem doesn't have like much sense of basketball history. And when asked about him possibly surpassing Kareem, him not, you know, he wasn't really just quick to say, yeah, I could probably be better than him one day. You know what I mean? Like he showed respect there, which I thought was interesting.
I got that. So here we go. Even in the NBA, even in the All NBA balloting, concluded after the regular season, but announced during the series, Kareem beat Hakeem 101-100. I get that. Wonder if they have the voting here.
I don't know. It would have to be the All NBA. Yeah, so, that's crazy.
Yeah, there it is. Literally by a point. Wow.
I think we talked about this during Kareem's legacy breakdown.
And we said I probably said Hakeem should have gotten it.
Yeah. Yep.
And I probably did. And I feel like I still feel that way. That way.
Yeah. Bro, they're literally the same amount of points. I mean, the only thing is Kareem played 11 more games, and he was 38 years old. So, like, like that does mean something, but
it definitely means something. But hey, LeBron was in a similar boat. He only got to third team, so fuck him. But he also didn't have nearly as many wins.
Yeah, I mean, they led the West, and he's arguably the best player in the team, which is not true.
But so they picked me second team, Hakeem said, looking pleased. I'm very happy. Behind Jabbar, 1 point behind him, that was good. Can he imagine himself as first team? Passing him, Hakeem said. Well, I think that wouldn't look too good. Or you are young, and he is older. But still, Hakeem said, the legend. ... So yeah, to your point, still showing respect.
Yeah.
Respecting his elders. So here you go. Said Danny Shays, who I think he was on the Nuggets. He plays a lot like Moses does. He's physically more talented. He's quicker. He jumps better. He's stronger. As far as having a lot of moves, Hakeem doesn't. He just stands in the low post and plows to the basket. He doesn't have the great moves of a Michael Jordan or a Dr. J, but he just plays a bull game. But as far as the physical talent, he's like a Michael Jordan or a Dr. J. Yeah. Man, what a confusing ass quote to read. But
yes, it didn't make any sense. But another thing, Moses in the same thing, he's third ballot. I mean he's third. But it doesn't make sense to me because wasn't he like second or third in the East? His team,
third in the East.
So that's weird to me. Like, why wouldn't he be first? Like, he played more games than Hakeem, and he was in his team won more games, and he had better stats or equivalent. Oh no, Hakeem had better defensive stats. So
yeah, I think the defense puts him over the top,
and
that's
also the shooting percentage too, Yeah,
that's how I feel about Kareem. Is like, I feel like Hakeem is so much better of a defender at this point.
Yeah,
that it's got to mean something. But apparently, one voter seemed to not agree with me. But this is the one thing that I saw, and they just like calmly put this at the end of the article.
Yeah,
he had a recent brush with a convenience store clerk in Houston who alleged that Olajuwon hit him. Olajuwon says he only yelled at the man who had just insulted him and his girlfriend in Texas. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Olajuwon wasn't arrested or obliged to appear, but his lawyer had to post a $200 bond. So you could, man, not only is he hitting referees, he's hitting humans. He's just hitting random motherfuckers on the street. God damn. I don't know, man.
He's quick to swing, too. Like he don't think twice. He just goes for it.
Yeah.
Lindsay, is that cool? Is that cool of an honorable person to just strike convenience store clerks?
No.
Say his wife is ugly or some shit?
No.
Hell no. So I guess he develops his honorableness later on. But anyways, let's go to game 4. Oh, actually, wait. Before we go to game 4, James Worthy, whose dormant offense came to life Friday when he scored 29 points, suffered a strain in his neck with 58 seconds left in the third period when he collided with Hakeem Olajuwon. Worthy managed only 3 points after. Just 24 seconds after Worthy's injury, Magic Johnson came up limping severely after a drive to the basket, favoring his right knee. He missed 7 games earlier this season after banging that knee. He continued to play Friday night, but received treatment before and after practice this afternoon. So they're starting to set up the upset. Classic upset alert stuff. Oh, people are injured. People are dying.
Yeah.
Everybody's fucking dying in the playoffs.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that shit. Everybody's dying.
And you notice that it always happens with the Lakers too. Like I mean, it was more legitimate for when they lose in the against Detroit, but they definitely do that a lot with the Lakers. That's like a common thing.
So Rockets are going to win by 10. Hakeem's going to follow his 40-point night up with 35. Yeah. And he, again, all the dream shakes shit is there.
Straight massacres.
Like, this is what pisses me off about the quote I read a second ago, where they were like, "Oh, he doesn't have the skill. As far as having a lot of moves, Hakeem doesn't have them." I don't know what game they're fucking watching, but when I was watching this series, I saw it all. I saw all the turnarounds. he was making crazy and one fadeaway makes for buckets, just pouring on the scoring.
Yeah, but it is just one move though. What he's doing, it's just the same. It's just the same
quick,
move.
But like he's gonna drop step over his shoulder and go towards the baseline and try to get under the basket. He's gonna he's gonna turn over his other shoulder, hit the fade, or go for a jump hook. Like and he tries.
It's still more moves than most of these centers have. So
that's what I'm saying.
That's where I don't understand, but I could understand why they say he's not a Jordan or Dr. J, and then I'm like, you're comparing him to guards or or forwards. Like
it's it's hard for me to go with the Jordan comparison because Jordan was a freak athlete in the 80s, especially early 80s, pre or during foot injury. Freak athlete. What moves are we talking about? Just him making up and under layups and shit? Like
his dribbling, like Jordan's dribbling and stuff was like. You don't remember, like, your favorite move of Jordan is him doing the in between the legs and doing all the crazy shit. Like those are moves.
In college, which he's pretty close to, Jordan was known for his lack of dribbling, and he's known for his explosiveness and that sort of thing. So when I think of moves, I just think of like,
but that's completely different when Jordan's in the NBA, though. Yeah, because we know that Jordan takes that, and I would say that I'm a Jordan hater now, but from college to the NBA, Jordan does make a leap, and obviously from the Team USA stuff. So I do. He definitely like that dribbling against the Celtics. That happens this year. That's literally happened. It already happened by this point. So like it makes sense. Like he definitely has a ton of moves. Like, but I don't think it's fair to compare a center to a fucking shooting guard. Like that doesn't make sense. You're not gonna have more moves than a shooting guard. You shouldn't. Like
you shouldn't.
Yeah. So it's just, to me, that just didn't make sense.
The Lakers are shocked by the guard play, which makes sense because McCrae's not even. Oh, there's McCrae, 6 assists, 12 rebounds.
Well, Kareem really is pointing that out, and I thought it was funny. I'm like, Kareem, why you not pointing out the fact that y'all getting cooked? On the your center is getting cooked. I don't see you doing anything about it, boy.
So there you go. Their guards have played a lot more consistent than we thought they would, said Kareem.
Yeah.
But they're putting the ball in Hakeem's hands, not turning it over, and not trying to carry the burden. Houston is also proving that it is blessed with depth. On a night when Ralph Sampson, their 7'4" center, endured the worst performance of the series. Sorry, I got unplugged there for a second.
No,
my brain unplugged there for a second.
I thought you meant your mic. I was like, damn, that came back quick.
No, it was my soul. Endured the worst performance of the series, 12 points, 8 rebounds, after sitting out 16 minutes and 32 seconds of the second half because of fouls. The unheralded Jim Peterson provided them with an unexpected lift. So that's this motherfucker with 13 rebounds.
Yeah.
Not really much scoring, but 13 rebounds, right?
Yeah.
Playing defense against Kareem for much of Sampson's hiatus, 6'10" Peterson held the 39-year-old veteran to just 2 field goals before Sampson returned to play, and the Rockets were ahead 96-90.
Russ, I think this is the point where Pat Riley says in his head, yeah, Magic has to take over next year.
This
thing's getting old.
Riley lauded Peterson's effort, calling it one of the best defensive performances against Kareem that he's ever seen. So you're probably right. He probably went back and said to himself, fuck, we got to do something about Cat. This might be it. My age finally might be catching up to this guy. Jim Peterson is giving him work.
So I want to say this for two separate reasons. It also adds to the fact that Magic Johnson had a 20-point triple-double in the same game. And to me, that's where you cannot make the excuse that Magic Johnson might have been injured. Because the very next game after this whole knee thing, he has a 20-point triple-double.
Facts. And he's put up nothing, but if he doesn't get a triple-double, then he's averaging over 15 assists.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. There's no excuse. And I remember, and obviously younger versions of us, which was 3 years ago, we had said that this was, this might have been a little bit lucky for the Rockets. Now, actually breaking down the season, this completely makes sense. So
yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
Just in case we have some old time listeners that are like, "Oh, y'all changing up your tune." You know, we got more information.
I am gonna say this. I am gonna say this though. Speaking about luck. Speaking of luck, I am gonna say this. This game 5 was fucking lucky. This whole thing was some of the most fortunate shit I've ever outrageously lucky. So hold on. So let's get some of this video up. Because Hakeem, so he's done, this is his 4th ever playoff series. So in 3 out of 4 playoff series, Hakeem is getting himself thrown out of the game in the closeout situation for fighting or being a dickhead and just over too much physicality. So here we go. So here's the fight. So basically, Mitch Kupchak, who we know as the general manager of the Lakers for a long time. He also was the general manager of the Hornets. He was big during your favorite era of Laker basketball, the Kobe 2 championship run. He was their general manager. But in this case, his job was to go out there, by many accounts, his job was to go out there and piss Hakeem Olajuwon off and try to get him thrown out of the game. Multiple people said that was the goal. He was essentially just trying to get him in a fight.
Yeah.
And he
that
succeeded.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
He fucking succeeded.
Yeah.
Hakeem, you look at this. So now he gets thrown into this huge scrap just occurs.
Yeah.
Another day at the fucking office for Ralph. Look how angry Ralph is.
Well, the crazy
part, cops are bringing the Rockets back over to the other side.
The crazy part to me, all right, there's 2 things that went on here that it has to be applauded. All right. The first one was how quick the ref was able to notice what was about to happen and straight up tackled Hakeem. He just got up in there and straight up tackled him and held him back. And the second thing that has to be applauded is Hakeem still throwing punches throughout the whole process, just straight swinging. He was swinging right over him. And he even oh man, that was awesome.
Hakeem is such a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at him. He's trying to go through police officers right now.
Oh man.
They have loaded guns.
And
he has a jersey
Sampson,
on.
This is what I'm talking about. Sampson is he's a nice guy for his teammates, man, because he was ready to do everything possible to get in that scrap. He's like, oh, we scrapping? We scrapping?
Ralph Sampson is ride or die.
Ralph Sampson?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to tell you, in terms of straight up great teammates, he might be, in terms of relevance, not being a straight up other, he might be in the top 5 or the top 10 greatest teammates I've ever seen. Oh, man. You get injured? I got your back. I can put up 25 and 15, no problem. Oh, you're not in a fight? We're fucking fighting. We're fighting. You're not just fighting.
He looked like the fight was his fight. He looks more mad than Hakeem is at this point.
I'm 7'4". You want this smaller guy to fucking play center? Awesome. I'm with it. Whatever you want, crazy. I'm down to help.
That's crazy.
Ralph Sampson, fucking legend.
I know Magic walked up to Mitch Kupchak and was like, great job, man.
Great job. Fire.
Do what you have to do.
Decision.
Let's go.
Great call. But Hakeem now is in the back going, oh, fuck. I just got myself thrown out of another game. We're going to fucking lose this game to the Lakers now. We're fucked.
Yeah, before we really get into that part, though, the funniest thing is the commentator during this process. And this is where, it truly is just completely different than today's game or really anything. The guy says that usually they'll just let them play after this, and no one gets thrown out. So they were expecting, the commentator in this video was saying that they don't expect anybody to get thrown out.
And Tommy, the officials are going to have a very difficult decision, because if you're going to throw out 2 players and they're named Kupchak and Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Fitch, temperature may rise a few degrees.
There's no question that Olajuwon threw a punch or 2. What precipitated it, I don't know. The better part of valor is to leave both of them play, and that's normally what happens.
That's insane.
Jarring.
That's insane.
So different.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hakeem had a quote about that. He had a quote about that exact situation. Hold on,
yeah, like if that same, I think he said if that same thing happened in today's game, like you'd get multiple suspensions, huge fines.
So, yeah,
like they only got fines and they didn't get suspended games or anything.
Nope. So Olajuwon said, I don't mind people being physical, but this guy, he had no intentions of playing defense. He was in just to rough you up. I had 27 or so points already. He came in and was just too rough. I told myself, I don't mind physical. I don't back down. So if that was his game plan, it worked perfectly. I got kicked out. That's exactly what he said when he got into that fight in college, too. Or not in college, last year with the Jazz guy.
Yeah.
With Billy Paultz. He was just playing too physical. He was only in there to rough me up. But the quote was, back then, I didn't even get suspended. Just fine. You won't be able to do that in today's league. That would be the dumbest thing to get suspended in a series like that.
Seriously.
Facts. And that was Mitch Kupchak's last game in the NBA.
Yeah. It's like
that's crazy.
Yeah, and he was like, that is, it sucks to go out that way. Not that anybody remembered.
No, yeah. Hakeem is just thinking, I've blown this thing. Sitting back in the locker room, he was just fearful of the wrath of Bill Fitch coming in if they had just lost the game with him sitting in the locker room. Crazy. That's what I would have thought too. I would have thought, fuck the Lakers, because what happened to him last season? He got into this fight, the Jazz came right back, and they were fucking back home. No more playoffs, eliminated. So I'm sure.
Yep. And especially when you're thinking, like really thinking about it, you have the champions from the previous year.
Yeah.
You're up 3-1. You're in LA, right?
Yep.
You're in LA. Let's say for whatever reason they suspend you, which could very well happen because the NBA might be like, you know what, we might want a game 7. Yeah. We'd rather see Lakers Boston in the finals. Like that could very well happen. You could have just fucked your whole shit up.
Yeah.
If this doesn't happen, if what's about to happen doesn't happen.
So, Lavelle. They're going to... Oh, they're still showing the fight.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Okay, so here's the three-pointer in the corner. That brings it...
Ties it.
That ties the game.
Yeah.
That major corner three. So then they come down. Magic's got the ball, doing his classic posting up from the fucking three-point line. Gives it to Kareem.
Yeah.
They shoot it all around.
I think it's Michael Cooper or Byron Scott, one of the two.
Yeah.
I think it might have been Byron Scott.
Shot. 1 second left. 1 second left in the game. Mm-hmm. So, McRae, who is the inbounding guy right here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the referee to hurry up and give me the ball before the Lakers figure out that the defense they were in would basically allow a direct line to Ralph. So Ralph is here. So Ralph's gonna move down a little bit. No. And there's your straight shot. Right here. Just trying to get him to hurry.
Yep.
Straight line into Ralph. Nobody's really there. I would have thought my man here, I can't tell if that's Magic or not. It's too blurry.
No, so
I'm thinking my man here would probably jump through and take this, but
yeah, I think it was Worthy. Well, it was confusion, and the inbounder noticed that pretty much Worthy was talking to the coach, asking, should I play the inbounder or should I go to try to double team somebody? And within that, this happens. So it's like it really you damn near should have called the timeout if that's the case. If you had one, I don't know if they had one.
James Worthy said it was a state of confusion for about a second. I was in no man's land. I was nowhere. Mm-hmm. I look back, kind of think I do with that 84 pass to Gerald Henderson. It's another thing that happened in Laker history. There's a couple of seconds I wish I could take back. Looking back, I wish I would have at least put more pressure on the passer. Maybe he would not have gotten that pass to Ralph so easily.
Yeah.
Crazy. And so he gets the ball and just flips it in the air. Bink, bank, boom. Michael Cooper just dies on the ground over there. There he is, dead. Totally deflated. And the Rockets steal this game and dominate the Lakers in 5 games.
Yeah. And not for
Only
nothing.
lost game 1 and won 4 straight games against one of the greatest teams of all time. And this 86 Lakers team, do not get me wrong, is one of the greatest teams of all time, period.
Yeah. We already established this was a Kareem still in not he's obviously at the end of his prime, but this is still monster Kareem. He averaged 35 points a game against the Houston Rockets, 7-1 against the Rockets. Obviously you got Magic Johnson having multiple 20 assist games. Had a Magic Johnson 20-point triple-double the previous game before this. Like this is definitely a elite Laker team, and they just beat them 4 straight games.
Yep.
And also, Michael Cooper has the craziest overbite I've ever seen in my life. You saw that? Like he looked like a fucking alligator, bro. His teeth, it's crazy.
Hilarious. But for the series, Hakeem 31-11, 2 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks a game. Ralph 20 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists a game, 1.2 steals, 2.2 blocks. Twin Towers show up, but most importantly, Hakeem is that man. This series, he did all of it, all the shakes, all the moves, and got them to got Hakeem to his first NBA Finals, but got the Rockets to their second NBA Finals of the decade.
Yeah.
Ironically, against the same opponent.
Yep.
The Boston Celtics.
And then they get to yep, exactly. That's
considered the greatest team.
Did that Houston team beat the Lakers?
I want to say yes.
I feel like the Lakers lost in the first round that year.
They did. They beat the Lakers in the first round. You were right. And it was the Rockets. And they beat the Lakers in the first round. Crazy. And then, so the last time the Rockets had made the finals, the coach of the Celtics was Bill Fitch, who's now the coach of the Rockets. So there's a lot of history here. There's a lot of entanglements going on.
That's crazy. This is like some gematria shit, like crazy, because that Rockets team loses in 6 against Boston Celtics, and we're about to see what happens to this one. So would you assume like it almost sounds like it anyways, but this is definitely a huge. It's looked at as a huge mismatch, right? You got a Boston dynasty get into the finals at will throughout the 80s, right?
Right.
They just lost against the Lakers last year, and they're on a revenge mission, right?
Yeah.
And then this is looked at as arguably one of the greatest teams of all time.
Yep.
I think this is considered the greatest team of all time until at least you get to maybe the Bulls run or the Lakers run or something like that after.
But for one season, I personally have this team as number 1. For one season.
Up to this point, or just in general?
In general, for one season, it's this team. It's the Warriors with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry.
I got that's me. That's for me.
People like to throw. I don't personally have the '96 Bulls in there, but people throw that team in there, and the Spurs, that 2014 Spurs team.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Celtics are right in that conversation. The '86 Celtics are amazing. The best ball movement team of all time.
Yeah,
the best.
Yep. And you got a 3 back-to-back MVP. Larry Bird. You got 6th man of the year in Bill Walton.
To that point, 3 guys of size.
Yes.
A solid 3-man big rotation to handle Olajuwon and Sampson.
Yeah. And mind you, Robert Parrish just 2 years, last year during summer camp, remember the summer league, just completely destroyed Olajuwon. Remember?
Yep. Yep.
So like
brought him to school. We talked about that in the rookie season.
Yep. So this is not like this is just some like Parrish is a nobody and obviously we know what McHale was, especially that season.
Yeah. So the Celtics and the Rockets finished number 1 and number 2 in the league, and in the best home regular season records. Boston was 40-1 at home for the whole season, which is absolutely outrageous. And Houston, after winning its first 20 games at the Summit, finished 36-5. The Rockets were 15-26 on the road, compared to the Celtics 27-14. Each team has not lost at home in the playoffs. Both teams are 7-0 so far at home.
Yeah.
The two teams are alike in that both like to pound the ball inside. The Celtics use Paris and Mikal, and the Rockets use Sampson and Olajuwon.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the preview for Hakeem. You will argue that the 25-year-old Hakeem Olajuwon is destined to become the league's next dominant center. In his second pro season, Olajuwon is quicker than most centers, runs the court well, is a dominant shot blocker and rebounder, especially off the offensive boards where he gets most of his points. His major fault is that he is foul prone. I would say his major fault is that he fucking likes to hit people. But his major fault is that he's foul prone. To contain him, the Celtics strategy will be to try to keep him off the boards and to frustrate him into making younger players' mistakes. Parrish, who will guard him, will have to play harder and have a great series to make things easier for his teammates. Olajuwon had 29 and 14 rebounds the last time the Celtics played the Rockets. So that's kind of where the feeling about Hakeem going into the NBA Finals here.
Yeah. I found it interesting that former Celtics were kind of saying that like Parrish couldn't really hold Hakeem and stuff like that. Yeah.
Asked if Parrish could keep up with Olajuwon for an entire game, Cedric Maxwell said, "I don't think so. Robert is not part zebra. This guy has some zebra in him. If he's not the best athlete in the league, he's among the top two." As for Sampson, Maxwell said, "I know Kevin McHale was sitting at home saying, 'Please win LA.'"
That sounds. I feel like that's some like ill hate, like hater in him, and like just because they like he's not with them anymore. Like I feel like he was definitely that type of guy. Because like this is just like shade for no reason.
He's right though. Who would you rather guard, Kurt Rambis or Ralph Sampson? Give me Kurt Rambis all day, every day.
Facts.
The only way he can block Ralph's shot is if he gets a broom and tapes it to his arm.
That was fire. That was hilarious.
Yeah, he's had a great playoffs, but this will be like going from playing your son to playing your big brother. So savage.
Yeah.
So savage. Kevin McHale told Newsday, Hakeem is the quickest center in the league, and he's got all those new era moves. Not just those John Wooden 1945 specials like Bill Walton. These guys are such dicks to each other. It's great.
Yeah,
I love
that's
it.
funny.
So, game one, Hakeem and Ralph. Ralph, I think, has a pretty shitty game.
Yeah, he has foul trouble pretty quickly. I think I want to say in the second quarter he picks up 3 fouls. His third foul.
Yeah, 1 for 13 for the game. 2 points for Ralph Sampson.
Mm-hmm.
Hakeem, 33 and 12, showing his dominance early. 3 blocks. But I think Larry Bird's going to have an awesome game.
Yeah, I think I think they really made it easy for the Celtics in this game because usually if like it's kind of a back and forth between Hakeem and Ralph. Why do I keep freaking calling him Rob?
I don't know. Yeah. I was gonna let it go, and I was just gonna put Ralph underneath, right in front of your face for when you screw it up. So it's gonna happen.
No, sorry. I'm gonna just call him Sampson because that's way easier for me.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
For Sampson, I don't know why I keep on saying Rob. Rob and Ralph sound the same to me, I guess. But so Sampson usually will be like it's the yin and yang there, right? And because he was in foul trouble, it makes it so much. So pretty much what they did was just play them how they would have played the Bulls, right? And just let Jordan go completely off. That's what they were doing for with the Rockets. They knew no one else was going to be able to provide offense to them, and they just played a straight team game and just pretty much won pretty handily.
Pretty sure all 5 players are in double figures for the Celtics. 6 players in double figures, literally. Yeah. All the relevant players. Wow, this is insane. Only 6 guys scored, and that's all you needed.
Yeah,
that's crazy. They really put the T, E, the A, and the M in team.
Seriously,
it's insane. The saga of the Rockets' Twin Towers began to evolve when the 7'4" Ralph Sampson picked up his 3rd foul with 7 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the first quarter. That's insane. He did not play for the rest of the first half. The Rockets did not miss Sampson as the 7-foot Olajuwon took over. With Kevin McHale, Bill Walton, Greg Kite, and Robert Parrish each taking a crack at trying to guard him, Olajuwon had 25 of his 33 points to keep Houston in the game. I guess they're saying in the first half, yeah, those 25 out of 33.
Yep.
By the time the third period had ended, the Celtics had extended their advantage to 91-76. Part of the reason was that the Celtics had started to double team Olajuwon. But the crusher came when he picked up his 2 fouls in about half a minute to bring his total to 5 halfway through the third quarter. So you're right. They let him go off in the beginning and kind of let him get comfortable with how they were defending him. And then in the second half, they were like, now we're going to fucking swarm you.
Yeah, exactly.
Gave him different looks.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hakeem only made half of his 6 shots in the second half under the constant double team.
I really loved Arbeck's breakdown of how he's handled amazing centers in the past.
Oh yeah, that's coming up.
That
right?
was so awesome. That was like dope, and it just shows like why he was so dominant throughout his run as like a coach and whatever the hell.
So McHale's gonna say, we just tried to take it to Hakeem, explained Kevin McHale, who mostly covered the 7-foot center. Make him commit some fouls and get into our game. Can't let those 2 guys intimidate you. That was plan A. But at halftime, it was barely working. Although the Celtics had a 61-59 lead, Olajuwon, who averaged nearly 28 points in previous playoff games, had 25 points and 8 rebounds in the first half. Hakeem was having a picnic, Casey Jones said. So we decided we would try to make him give the ball up. We had to go after him on defense. We couldn't take a chance on the man guarding him losing his mind. So as soon as Olajuwon got the ball, somebody else helped out on him.
And that's why the Celtics and Lakers were like so amazing throughout this run, is like when you look at the people who are running those 2 franchises, like it's kind of like the Heat right now, right? Like with Pat Riley kind of running things, and then having Eric Spoelstra as like a great head coach, and then like Pat Riley's able to like just feed all of this extra knowledge and stuff. And that's literally what Arbeck is able to do here, right? Like he has so much experience facing some of the greatest big men ever, right?
100%. And he can still apply it to today's game, which is more crazy.
Yeah.
But we played against 2 guys that big, but not 2 guys that good, said Red Auerbach. Kareem and Mitch Kupchak are that big, but Kupchak isn't that good. Chamberlain couldn't beat you by himself, Auerbach called. The only thing we'd tell Bill Russell was, you're not going to get much help. You're supposed to be the greatest defensive player in the game. Do your job. Run him. Make Chamberlain put out a lot of energy. But in that series, San Francisco not only had Wilt and Nate Thurman, but they also had another center who I'm not going to name because you've never heard of him and neither have I. What we did was we put Bill Russell on Chamberlain. But instead of putting Tom Heinsohn on Nate Thurman, we put Heinsohn on the other center, and we put Frank Ramsey, who was only 6'3.5", on Nate Thurman. Now, Thurman had to chase Ramsey, and he couldn't. They eventually had to bench Thurman. You can play basketball 2 ways. By reacting, this is a great quote. You can play basketball 2 ways. By reacting to what the other team does, or making them react to what you do.
Yeah.
Like the way we use Ramsey. That's a great quote, and that's a fact. And that is through all of history. Yep. There's only 2 ways to get it done. And that's why I hate Mike Budenholzer. Bring it full circle. Why I fucking hate Mike Budenholzer, and I'm glad he got fired from the Bucks. Man, because he doesn't do anything.
Like
he just does the same shit.
We're talking about Hakeem, Boston Celtics, freaking Bill Russell, and somehow Mike Budenholzer gets
and his bitch ass comes up.
Like, what are we talking about?
Because Dario, what you have to realize is while you've been like very openly and obviously been sucking Kobe's dick, Russell is every time he brings up Budenholzer laying the groundwork for Giannis never having any faults in his career.
Oh, okay. All right, right. I feel that.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah, I see that. I agree with you, Lindsay. You know, even though you didn't have to say the sucking dick part.
No, I did, because I know you'd appreciate that one.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
It's unnecessary, but whatever.
But let's see.
And this is like why so many people hated the Boston Celtics throughout this time frame is you really had they were like good, but they just talked so much shit. All of them.
So what happens when you're the champs?
Presidents, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, everybody, they just talked so much shit, and I loved it. Like, I love it now, but I'm sure, like, if I was watching at that time, like, I probably wouldn't have loved it as much as I think. Yeah, see,
like, fuck these guys.
Like
fuck them.
The cockiness is crazy, man. Like,
yeah, it's the bravado of being on top of the league for so long.
Yeah,
and they just were not afraid of this Rockets team at all.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, they were like, they wanted the Lakers, so like they felt like they ended up getting like a easy matchup at this point.
So going into game 2 is an ass slapping by the Celtics.
Yeah.
They beat the piss out of them.
Yeah, straight up dog.
The Rockets shot 41% as a team. The Rockets shot 41% as a team, only 95 points scored. Celtics shot 50% as a team, 117 points, 4 of 9 from 3, which feels like 23s taken.
Yeah, and Larry
in
Bird
this era.
And Kevin McHale just piss all over them too.
Just fucked them up.
Yeah.
Beat shit down their leg, as somebody likes to say all the time.
Yep. But I'm just imagining like Larry Bird peeing on all of them. I feel like he'd do that.
Let's see. So they're talking about Larry Bird, who, 31, 8 and 7 for Bird, 4 steals and 2 blocks, completely savage. And Larry Bird said, I don't think they can handle it. I think it's our advantage. If they double up on me, I will swing the ball around. Goddamn right.
Yeah.
Let it be noted that the ball was swinging around pretty well for the Celtics.
Yeah.
Bird spent 44 minutes putting on his own instructional clinic. Insane.
Just straight, like.
Let's see. If defending against Bird didn't give the Rockets enough problems, trying to find some offense surely did. Hakeem Olajuwon had 21 points, and Ralph Sampson came back from his terrible Game 1 to score 18. But they combined for only 3 baskets in the second half. I was ashamed, said Hakeem Olajuwon. We don't look like the team that brought us here. We have to regroup. We're down 2-0. We cannot afford to lose. Sorry about that, Hakeem.
Yeah.
Sorry about your damn luck. Game 3, Houston's finally going to take one 106-104 in Houston. So once they go back home, they take care of business at home.
And I want to talk about this because I think, I think this is the NBA trying to extend the series because if you look at the free throw discrepancy, is literally almost Houston almost shoots double their free throws in this game, and they barely win the game. And I think that really shows the difference between just the levels in team. Ralph Sampson definitely did have like his best game prior to the playoffs at this point.
Yeah.
But I think the free throw, because I noticed like even in the highlights that we were looking at for Hakeem, there like some of those fouls were like they were not fouls, especially not like in this era they wouldn't be fouls in my opinion, and definitely wouldn't be fouls in that era because like it was pretty much anytime he got the ball and turned and someone even thought about swiping at the ball.
This is what I used to say about when we were looking at Jordan. It's the same thing. It's just for whatever reason, they don't call post-up fouls the same way that they used to at all. It's crazy. The old era is a lot more physical and a lot more damaging, except for in the post of all places. Where people be banging bodies down low constantly. Yeah. And you think that, but for whatever reason, way less fouls are called in the post in today's game.
Because I remember Larry getting called for a foul, and he literally just had his hands up, and his body was like, it was on Hakeem. I gotta remember that's his name at this point. He his body was kind of on him, but Hakeem made all of the contact, And just naturally in the 80s, that wouldn't be a foul. And I felt like, I was like, this looks like one of those, we got to extend this a little bit more. We want to make some more money, you know.
Dude,
like,
you could be. I didn't look at the free throws beforehand, but Olajuwon and Sampson both went 11 times.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Celtics are known for their physical play, for sure, but you might be right about that.
And if you look at every single other
signs
game,
and symptoms.
Yeah,
it is very much the signs and symptoms.
Every single game besides this one, the free throws were within 5 to 6 free throws. Right. I double checked it because I was like, am I tweaking? Because as I'm watching this, I'm like, damn, he's getting a lot of foul calls. And I look at the free throws and I'm like, wow, this is almost double. And then I look at all the other games, and because Boston was like starting to wipe the floor with them. Think about it. How many free throws did the Rockets make? Because this was a 2-point game, right? 2 or 3-point game, something like that.
29 out of 39.
29. So they made 10 points off of free throws more.
Yep.
Celtics win handily without that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were winning handily. They go up 3-0 in that series. If the free throws aren't a thing. And y'all motherfuckers better like, comment, subscribe, because nobody's bringing up these freaking mysterious theories about this playoff series. All y'all know about is Larry Bird's magical game, and that's all. Lakers and Celtics were supposed to face each other. They didn't. They faced the Rockets. The Boston Celtics did what they did. Larry Bird had the best game of his career, and that's it. That's all y'all hear about with this series. And we breaking it down game by game, play by play.
So here you go. So in game 3, then an inadvertent whistle by referee Jake O'Donnell, just as the Celtics lost the ball out of bounds, following a miss by the center Robert Parrish, forced a jump ball at center court. The 7'4" Ralph Sampson of the Rockets out-jumped Parrish and tipped the ball to Olajuwon, who was fouled. He made 2 free throws with 5 seconds left for the final margin.
Yeah. See?
Man, it looks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, and it fucking swims like a duck. It's definitely not a fucking bull.
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right.
This has all the fucking signs and symptoms of a screw job.
Of a screw job, right? That's what I'm saying.
All the signs and symptoms. Free throw disparity. Weird shit going on with the referees. All we need here are some quotes from the Celtics saying, you know, I think this was bullshit.
So Larry does. He kind of.
Here we go.
Yep.
Kevin McHale, we hit a wall down the stretch. I can't explain it. This wasn't indicative of the way we normally handle ourselves at that time. Let's see. Where's the Larry one? See if I can find it.
Larry says Larry is like hinting at it, but I do feel like he would have normally said something. But he's probably like, we got this series. We're holding on to the series really handily. I don't want to fuck with the refs, and then they really screw me.
Here it is.
That's what I'm thinking, because that's the only reason I could imagine them. Yeah.
This is the quote. Larry Bird, I thought we had it won. We outshot them, out-rebounded them, and had more assists. They got lucky, awfully lucky to beat us.
Yeah. Man, I love Larry for that shit, though, because literally, like, who would say that in the NBA Finals right now? You up 2-1. Nobody's saying that shit in the NBA Finals. And actually backing that shit up the very next game. Like, that's the type of shit that I like. That I love that. I love that so much. Like, you say what's on your mind, you talk your shit, and you back that shit up the very next game.
So, more good adjustments by Bill Fitch, too, in this game. After shooting horrendously in each of the first 2 games, Robert Reed emerged as a significant contributor. Not for his 20 points, 9 assists, and 3 steals, but for his defense. In the middle of the third period, Bill Fitch put guard Alan Lavelle into the game, replacing McRae, who had been saddled with the responsibility of guarding Bird in the first 2 games. Fitch's substitution was designed to spread the Celtics' defense, which was collapsing on Olajuwon and Sampson, by adding another outside scoring threat. But it also gave Reed, the starting playmaker, the opportunity to move forward and defend Bird, whom he guarded when these 2 teams met 5 years ago in the finals. And we know that because Larry Bird's worst finals performance ever was that first finals he had. He did not win finals MVP. He was under 20 points a game.
Yeah. Cedric Maxwell.
What an adjustment master this fucking guy is. That's what I have in my notes.
Yeah.
Adjustment master. I never really heard of Bill Fitch until doing this season. And now I'm glad I have, because
Yeah.
This guy could coach today. Even with all the adjustments of the rules, he could still coach today, 100%.
Yeah.
All the adjustments made, all his fearlessness with like putting big guards in and outside shooting, like he could absolutely coach today.
Yeah,
for
100%.
Sure. Before Game 4, Ralph Sampson is talking about his performance so far in the finals.
Yeah.
He goes, "Look, I know I was a dog in the first 2 games, Sleepwalk City. So I locked myself in a frozen meat locker last night and punched cow carcasses that I pretended were Kevin McHale. And there was an uncanny resemblance until my knuckles bled. And then I decided to stop acting like a maypole on the court and play some dadgum basketball." What a weird quote.
Oh, man.
Oh, what a weird quote. He's comparing Kevin McHale to pig carcasses. It's fucking crazy.
They really start comparing how Bird and Olajuwon.
Yeah, that's the next article, right in the middle of the finals. With all due respect to team basketball and to the other performers, this is the Larry Bird and Hakeem Olajuwon show. Larry, says a reporter during an informal off-day press conference, "I couldn't help but notice at the All-Star Game 3-point shooting contest, you were the only player who took the time to turn the balls in the ball rack so all the seams lined up." Bird replies, "And you probably couldn't help but notice that I was the only player who won that contest."
Just a cocky, like, asshole, bro.
So good.
It's crazy.
During a late season Rocket game in Houston, Olajuwon pleads with a teammate, a guard, "Throw me the ball." "Hakeem, they're dropping 3 guys on you," the guard says. "It does not matter. It does not matter," Hakeem says. "Give me the ball. I dunk it." I don't know why they have him sounding like he doesn't know how to speak English. He knows how to speak. Anyways. Yeah, right?
You know why. You know they wrote this shit in Boston, bro. You know what
I have a feeling why. I have a feeling why. During the winter, Olajuwon plays basketball for the Houston Rockets. During the summer, he plays basketball at Houston's Recreation Center against guys like Moses Malone. This is a difficult sport. The players get tired. This basic law of the sport does not seem to apply to Hakeem and Larry. Watch Bird when he doesn't have the ball. He's in his own private track meet, moving, cutting, breaking, flowing. Kind of like Steph Curry will do in 25 years. No, just kidding. It doesn't say that in the article, but it's the same shit. It's basically like what Steph does, where it's all off the ball.
But just faster, better, and
with slightly more athleticism.
Yeah.
On defense, Larry contests every pass, plays the entire court. He's the kind of guy, when you have someone like him in a neighborhood pickup game, that everyone considers a real pain in the tush. That's actually the fucking thing. Watch Olajuwon. On defense, he is always digging, moving, helping. On offense, he sets up low and pleads for the ball. His body language is saying, "Give me the ball. I dunk it." Fucking. Hakeem refers to the Boston Garden as a dump.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's like, that would not happen. No, like, well, I guess Kyrie kind of did that, but that was not in the NBA Finals.
It's just a really interesting juxtaposition between two guys. But going to Game 4, Boston's going to win again. They're going to take a 3-1 lead.
Mm-hmm.
More dominance from their main guys. Larry almost a triple-double. Robert Parrish a double-double.
Yeah.
And Hakeem's only going to have 20 and 14 for Hakeem on 21 shots. Robert Reed, 19 points on 19 shots. Ralph, 25 points on 20 shots.
Yeah.
Just a very inefficient game. They shot 43% as a team.
Yeah. And this really showed, because weren't the Celtics, I'm pretty sure they were a top 5 defense in the league. I think they might have been
100%.
top 1.
100%.
So that, like, it really makes,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Third in offense, first in defense.
Yep. So that makes 100% sense. Like, they're just locking up, and they have they have bodies for their Houston's best players, and they literally have nobody to stop Larry Bird, really, to be honest.
None, and he hasn't been. He's been untouchable in this series.
Yeah.
But Hakeem Olajuwon was asked what it would take for the Rockets to come back from the deficit. It would take a miracle, said Olajuwon.
Yeah.
And Bill Walton had a big game too, I believe. Yeah, 10 points, 4 rebounds, pretty good off the bench.
5 for 5 shooting.
And he guarded Sampson a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Now, said an obviously defected Olajuwon, we'll find out if we have miracles in us.
Yeah.
And that takes us to a very interesting Game 5.
Yeah, you got miracles of Sampson's fists, bro.
Word.
Yeah, and y'all gotta please like this video because we're about to give you a play-by-play analysis of how Ralph Sampson became Mike Tyson. Like he just started wilding on everybody, and nobody. This is not even talked about. Like this happened in the NBA Finals. That we've had Kurt Rambis flying, getting clothesline in midair, whatever. Like that happened in the finals, but this is on TV because the Kurt Rambis thing happened prior to this, right?
Yeah.
I want to say. I think it was. Might have been 85.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So this is like on TV, live on TV, and you see my man's just knocking everybody possible out. And we need to talk about the play-by-play. We got to talk about the form and everything because I've been doing some boxing myself and just seeing like he was hitting it better than you hit the bags normally. Like anybody go what? He's catching everybody, man. You left people bloody and everything. It's the greatest thing ever.
Rated E for everyone.
Yeah, word. Yeah. Coming down the floor. Elbows Jerry Sting in the fucking face. He's so much bigger than him.
Yep. Whoop.
And then throws a giant fist.
Oh. He's like this. He's like, little man is all up on me. Whap! Give you one little crack. Oh, you coming back? Boop. Oh man, he literally swings at everybody in his vicinity. Like that's like I'm surprised he didn't knock out the ref. He knocks out the little boy and then he punches
Dennis Johnson.
Dennis Johnson.
Boom.
He punches him, makes him all, he bloodies him up.
Bop.
Whoop whoop. He 2-pieces him.
Bill Walton German suplexes him from behind.
He's like, you lucky. Yeah, and then now Sampson's ready to start wilding on Walton down there.
Hakeem's like, yes, we get to fight, and it's not my fault. Let's go.
Yo, Hakeem literally the first thing he wanted to do was knock out Larry Bird. Let's go back. Can we back up, please? Look at what he does. The first person he tries to come at is Larry. He's like, you talking all that shit? I'm gonna try to knock. And Larry just like didn't even try to do any of that. And then he started going towards I think Dennis Johnson.
So here's Olajuwon. He's coming down this way. Bird is right here.
Yep. So
Hakeem sees the fist thrown.
Yo, he's like, oh, we on bullshit. Look, you saw
he came back like that. Trying to go at Larry.
He was like, oh, he's not on shit. And then he went to the other guy. Like I think he thought Larry was gonna try to punch, like do something to Sampson, so he was just gonna catch him in the back, and he controlled himself. I'm surprised. I would have just knocked out Larry, to be honest. Like that was like at that point. Think about it. This is your third second season? No, second or third season. Second season.
Yeah.
You have nothing. Like I could be known for knocking out Larry Bird, like Larry,
and potentially changing the series, changing the game.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
But yeah, Ralph, and I'll play some of this, but Ralph was talking about that fight.
They ask him right after this, and he literally, as the commentators talking to him, he actually gets spoken to. Like that literally would never happen in today's game. Like he wouldn't have an interview after the fact. Like what?
No.
Like
Ralph Sampson ejected.
Yeah.
Ralph Sampson, when he was ejected 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the second period, Boston could not take advantage. Instead, the Rockets used the incident as a catalyst. From that point, they never trailed and went on to rout the Celtics 111-96 before a sellout crowd at the Summit. The victory kept the Rockets alive in the NBA Finals. They now trail 3-2. The teams return to Game 6 on Sunday.
I think they were up by almost 30 points at one point, too. I'm curious to see how many times that happened to the Celtics this year, because I don't think that they were ever down.
Like where it was 30. Like that. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
The Rockets outshot Boston 49% to 41% and dominated them on the boards 56-37 on the boards. And Boston had 18 turnovers. Yeah, very uncharacteristic Boston game.
Olajuwon 32, 14, and 8 blocks.
Savage.
Yeah, and I think that was the most in a finals game to that point.
Yes, the 8 blocks. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
and Dwight Howard broke it in the 2009 finals, but other than that, that's the only. Other than that, it's still Hakeem with 8 blocks.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. He's. I'm surprised. Well, I mean, I guess I'm not super surprised. But Robert Reed had 17 assists in this game.
What I'm more surprised at is Dwight Howard's bitch ass got a finals record for something.
Has a record. Yeah, and it's gonna last probably too. To your point about blocks, I don't know how that's not gonna last.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kevin McHale had 33 to no avail. Larry sucked. This is easily his worst game of the series.
Yeah.
And so now,
before that, I really would like to talk about what Larry Bird says before going into this game, because he talks his shit, and I love it. After every single game, Larry's just talking, and he backs it up. So this is why it's great. My man says, "I don't even think an all-star team could beat us, beat us in Boston twice. That's insane to me." Like,
Sampson and the rest of the Rockets better put on their hard hats because our fans can get nasty too.
Yep.
There will be a lot of contact in Boston.
Facts.
And that leads to the famous fucking... I gotta show that.
I don't know if you could play that, though. I put that on the thing, though. Right?
Sure I could. Sure I can. Watch me. No, this is historical context. Get out of here. Fucking... This is what Ralph Sampson came to Game 6 and saw in the Boston Garden, in a sold-out Boston Garden.
That's crazy.
Next to police officers.
Yeah.
Right next to the cops.
Making sure that the guy ain't gonna get hurt on anything. That's bullshit. Yeah. That's crazy.
Make sure that nobody stops him.
Yeah.
From hanging this Ralph blow-up doll like a noose.
So fucked up on so many levels.
Disgusting.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And Ralph talked about that on a podcast with Cedric Maxwell pretty recently, within the last month or so. I'll play some of his reaction to that.
Sisters on the end of the court, come out the stands, and everybody just went. Then they obviously kicked me out of the game, and then we win that game going back to Boston. So I leave that game, and then all of a sudden there was all this hate. The team said basically, we got this out, so we got to have security around you. And so we had security around me. So I was on the floor in Boston, so I knew that we had to do something, but they were on one end of the floor, and I didn't pay much attention to it. I was trying to play and come back and win, but I knew going in there was something special about me playing in Boston at that point in time because I had this security around me. We get in the game, and you know how the Garden was; it just hyped up and you're ready to play. But you're right, there was a mannequin or stuffed animal or stuffed human figure, right, with socks and jerseys and 50, and they had an afro wig on it, whatever, and then they had number 50 on it, had Sampson back, and they had a noose hanging up over the rail of the Boston Garden. Like they were gonna hang me when I got there. So, it was something you look at, and now you look at it again and see the magnitude of it. It's kind of crazy, right? That you have to go in an arena and play, and they allow that to happen in the arena. I don't think they would do that today, or somebody did today, probably security would take them out. But it's nature of the beast in Boston. You understand their passion though for their team, but then you do something against their team, then some people might do that. So, and as you look at it, and apologize for which you don't have to, but it motivated me to play harder. And then as I look back at the times today, it's like, what's the significance of that, and how can we change people's attitude?
Jerry Seasting said about the fight, "My little boy hits harder than that, and he's 3 years old. I couldn't tell if it was a punch or a mosquito."
Yeah, it's crazy. He said after he elbowed me earlier, I said I would get him for that.
Did you say the dude was bleeding?
Yeah, then he gets knocked. No, Dennis Johnson was bleeding. He ended up popping him in the eye, and he had to get stitched up, or at least some bandage or something. That's a pretty hard punch if you bloody. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That's why I was confused. I was like, how are you gonna lie like that? Be like it's a bee sting, but you're bleeding.
Yeah. He didn't get to catch the dude flush though, because he really was going back Like, so he caught Dennis Johnson like as he was coming, and he like even lunged in, so he caught him better. But I really analyzed those punches because he was throwing them bitches, man. It wasn't like Hakeem was missing all of his punches. My man was dead accurate. He looked like he took some boxing lessons. Like
jabs, man.
Like son, man, he had to be working with Mike. I ain't talking about Jordan, bro.
Raw nights I perform like Mike. Anyone, Tyson, Jordan, Jackson, action. Fucking.
I was about to say, don't get me all hype, man.
That's Biggie. Fucking. Yeah. As the Celtics were coasting to their 41st consecutive home court victory for a 50-1 record for the total season for the Celtics. The sellout crowd of 14,890 made the 7'4" Ralph Sampson their chief target. As you can fucking see.
Yeah. And as you can guess, too, like going into
that. They were pissed.
Yeah.
I guess it was payback for his actions in Houston the other night, said Dennis Johnson, alluding to the punches. We listened to all the talk. We know how to respond to talk. The fight resulted in Sampson being ejected. During warm-up drills today, and for 38 minutes he played, Sampson was jeered by the crowd every time he touched the ball. So probably like LeBron in Cleveland level. When he went to Miami, like that, whenever he gets the ball, just vociferous boos.
Yeah. I'd imagine much worse.
Let's see how it affected Ralph. Let's see what his final stat line was in this Game 6. Were you going to say something, Lynn?
I was going to say no vocab word.
Thank you. I do my best. 8 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 of 12 from the field. Dog shit. I wouldn't describe Ralph's play today as being one of his better games, said Bill Fitch. I don't think he was affected by the controversy, but he's the only one to answer that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like you were pretty affected by the controversy. Yeah. And I would be too.
Yeah.
If they're holding signs of me on a noose in the sands, I would be concerned.
Yeah. Not for nothing. None of them really played that well either, though. But
True.
I obviously this is known as the Larry Bird's best, what he considers his greatest game ever.
Yep.
So that's kind of like you get the Larry Bird playing at his very best after talking shit. Like that's what I love. Like you come by. I don't know. I wouldn't say this is his greatest game ever either. Like I don't see like he definitely was all around the court. He did what he had to do, but I've definitely seen better games.
29, 11, and 12 for Larry. But it's the reason why he considers this the best game is because he felt like he had a sixth sense on the court.
Yeah.
He felt like he knew where every pass was going. He felt like he could do no wrong on the basketball court.
Yeah.
And he even beat Ralph Sampson on a jump ball.
Yep.
Which is outrageous. Like,
yeah.
And the 86 Celtics complete their quest and become one of the greatest teams ever with this finals victory in 6 games. What is Hakeem's final stat line for this finals? I know Ralph is down significantly. Hakeem is 25, 12, 2.3 steals, 3.2 blocks. So still
about the same as regular season.
But that 48% is not great.
Yeah.
Ralph Sampson completely fell off a cliff. 15 points a game, 44% shooting. They couldn't even get to 10 rebounds.
Yeah.
Like they really stripped this team of what they do best. Yeah. And Bill Fitch was saying that they were even running old Bill Fitch plays against the Rockets just as a troll for Bill Fitch. Like he was like, I recognize all these fucking plays. He's like, I know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I got to imagine that helped in terms of scheming against the guy. Like,
yeah.
Definitely, especially when
I can imagine that it was extremely frustrating for him too.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's no 100%. Way he could have this young team really stop that. As obviously, you have a team full of veterans that are running plays that you've probably had drawn up for them for years. So
yeah, but ability wins, and they had the best team, said Ralph Sampson. But I don't remember the last time I was hounded by a team more than I was today. Every time I touched the ball, there were 2 and 3 guys around me. And that went for Hakeem, too. The swarming Celtic defense limited Hakeem Olajuwon, the Rocket center, to 19 points, the fewest he had in the series.
Yeah.
Our defensive intensity was phenomenal. We contested every pass, every dribble. There were constant pressure every time they touched the ball. We didn't do that in the other 5 games, said Casey Jones. But, what a run, though. Like, for this team to get to this point, despite losing their entire backcourt lineup and still make the finals just by putting people in place around the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Like, quite an impressive
they had so
run.
much adversity throughout the entire playoffs.
Facts.
And another thing, because we obviously didn't mention this, but there were talks about Sampson getting suspended after Game 5 with the punch, and they clearly didn't. I think they ended up finding him, but it's crazy.
Yeah, probably the same situation.
Imagine that would never happen in today. Not even close.
He probably gets suspended 2 games, 3 games, maybe the whole series.
Yeah, like if Draymond got suspended for like almost hitting LeBron in the nuts. So imagine
and a penis touch.
Yeah, like he didn't literally like a little mush, and then so imagine you straight up not knockout, but like punch 2 guys, land 3 hits. You're getting suspended
for that fight. Remember that fight with Carmelo and the Knicks?
I think he got suspended a decent amount. Like I want to say it was like at least 15 games or something like that.
Yeah, 15
games.
Look
at that, man. I still remember them shits, man.
Pretty good. But that's what I'm saying. So to say Ralph could have been suspended for an entire series if that happened today is not too out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, 100%.
And this, what's crazy, man? We're gonna see it next year, but this is the end. This is the end of the Twin Towers. This is it.
Yeah.
It's over now. We just did it.
Yeah.
So fast.
Never forget.
Such a easily forgotten. Clearly. Like
no, you missed.
And I what?
I just made a really bad joke, and you just walked right over it. Well, because you said the 2 towers, and I said never forget.
Oh, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Of course I didn't see that. Listen, we're almost 3 hours into this bullshit. All right, I'm a little delirious. Fucking.
No, they forgot immediately.
That's gonna.
Yeah.
Now I see why I look like a dick. Fucking. But what do you call it? That's gonna conclude this season. And where do you have Hakeem right now in terms of, is Hakeem a top 5 player in the NBA?
I'm probably gonna say no, but I have to look at the full. All right, so I definitely got Magic, Bird.
Yeah,
you could argue Hakeem. And technically Jordan's not Jordan yet, so
that's what I'm saying. So like,
he could
be there.
I would say Hakeem's top 5 player in the league. That's crazy.
I got Magic, Larry, Zeke, Moses probably, and then Hakeem is probably right there. That would be my list.
Yeah. Charles?
No, not yet.
He's not that yet.
Not yet.
He still needs Moses to make him not fat.
Maybe not ever for Charles. No,
that's not true.
You don't talk about my boy Chuck like that.
I was about to say the year he won MVP, he was 100% a top 5 player.
Charles has already become not fat. That's already happened. Okay, because that was his rookie year. But we'll get into that when we do Charles Barkley's legacy breakdown. But let's dip out of this season.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Yeah. So we are moving on. We are getting out of the Twin Towers era, and we are going into, quite frankly, the dark ages of Hakeem Olajuwon's career.
Yep.
And that is what we'll have for you next time.
Peace.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching the show. If you like what you heard, be sure to like the video and tell us if you agree or disagree with our takes in the comments section. From the on-court battles to the defining moments, we've dissected the careers of basketball's best, including MJ, LeBron, and Shaq, just to name a few. With over 350 videos now in the archives, there's so much more for you to binge if you're that type of person, or just to watch in your spare time. Subscribe now and stay in the loop. Peace!